Hello everyone, Tactical Lich here, and welcome to a weekend tournament hosted once again by the RTK clan. A massive shout out to Big JP for once again inviting me to cast this exciting event. We have the new player Conquest tournament every Saturday, and there's also an advanced tournament, but I'm not. I cast it last week, but this week is it's my turn for the new player tournament. So yeah, we have quite a few signups today. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be a lot of players. Let me when I look at the brackets. Yeah, so we're gonna see a lot of action here, but of course this is for new player only, so I can't play in it. And we'll be waiting for some replays to come in. We have roughly 28 games to cast. Plus the finals, where we have 3 more between the semifinalists and the finals. So yes, we have a lot of battles today for the weekend action. But yeah, for now we are not. Of course we don't have any replays coming in just yet, since the tournament just started and everyone is still playing their round 1 games. So I'm actually thinking of just going on to the ranked matchmaking and get some games going ourselves while everyone waits for those replays to come in. Anyways, how's everyone? Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Alright, what do we want to play today? Let's just go because I was still... I find it quite enjoyable to troll around with all the orc bacons last week. So I'm just gonna go greenskins today. At least for this battle. I think we have time for 1 battle, and then we probably can expect replays to start coming in and start casting. It's gonna be quite a long stream, I imagine, with all the players joining today. It's always great to see a lot of players, but I also don't want to speak for 5 hours straight. That's gonna wreck my throat. So yeah, oh shit, I need Daka then. I need a lot of Daka. Yeah. So yeah, I would love to have a few more. I would love to cast games. It's just my voice isn't exactly in the best condition. But yeah, anyways, let's just go with our build here. I probably just want to go with Orc Air Boys and maybe beat down whatever flies this. Oh right, it's gonna be. This is gonna be a bit. This is gonna be a bit annoying in the sense that we'll have to deal with Nurgle, and there's always a chance of getting getting Rancid Visitations to death with our Lord. So let's just go with some regenerating boys. Yeah, I guess we can use them. We don't need Lucky Banner, I don't think, but the Great on its ear. Let's just do that. Do I still want the Salvage or Board Biggins? No, let's not bring them. We're gonna just get shut down if like, we're just gonna get grind down if we just spam those. So yeah, those, and then gobbles. We need enough gobbles to hold the line here. I guess that will have to do. We do have a lot of Daka, so that's great. And we don't actually have to protect the Orc Air Boys at the back because they should have enough fighting power. They should be able to hold their own against Furies and Hounds. Like if there's stuff like Chaos Knights or Plague Drones coming in, then that's a whole different story. I might have to commit some of the Orc Begins to protect them, but right now it's like, it's fine. Mr. Streamer this time, I can't lose 4 games. I have 1 buy round, GG easy. Yeah, the buy round are considered as automatic win, right? So you're gonna be good. I mean you've won the last game last time, no? I thought you've won like you've won in the 4th round in the midweek 20. Maybe I've misremembered it. Apologies if that's the case, but yeah. Sounds like it shall be good. Yeah, true. Exactly. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Alright. Looks like our opponent is also ready. I probably should have just cancelled the... yeah, I probably should have just cancelled the lock-in to not pressure my opponent that hard. I just kind of forgot. Because normally when it's down to 30 seconds, I would just cancel it. So that the timer just reruns, but forgot about this time, but I guess it's not a big deal for our opponent either ways. So hopefully there's that. Anyways. We shall wait and see. How are both throwers in this matchup? I feel like both throwers has just been underperforming in when we saw them. Yeah, I think they were not that great if I remember correctly when they first came out. So I just never used them. Maybe I can try them next time. But right now I only want to just bring Daka. Just bring Daka. It's like it's all you need. It's all you need. That's the green skin. No, not really, but I think Daka would probably make more sense because you would need them to deal with stuff like Kugath and yeah. And the problem with both Farah is that they're also, I think they just have a pretty pathetic damage output for what they for an artillery. If I remember correctly, that's why nobody really uses them, I think. But yeah, anyway. Might need to test them again, because it's been a while. Things might have changed, so it might not be necessarily accurate with my impression on the unit. But either way, so we are ready. And it looks like our opponent is also ready, so we're gonna just activate guard mode, and now we can start going at it. Alright, we gonna... Oh, there's no big... Oh, well, these Plogers are gonna have a rough time, I think. Especially these are Plogers with great weapons, so I don't really mind dealing with them. We have enough Daka. The Orc Daka is here. Fate of Yuna is not... Rotting Riders, yeah, that will probably be our target for the Fate of Yuna. Okay, we'll just leave one Orborigans nearby. You can just walk on over, turn that on so that we start generating magic. Pull in some more winds so that we can start dropping that Fate of Yuna ASAP. But yeah, it's a very simple box. Right, let's maybe bait them. Wait, hold on. I need one more magic. Alright, they're not taking the bait, so... Alright, let's start Dakaing them down. Let's start Dakaing them down. Everything's getting wrecked. It's great. It's great to live as the greenskins. You're just taking fights however you... Oh, okay. If you're committing, then I'm committing as well. Alright, we can just send all these guys over. Alright, let's just keep shooting. Yeah, just go and you can go there and do some reinforcement as we are talking about that. Yeah, we can slow that one down. And we are almost up for a Wah time. It's time for a Wah. Yeah, let's Wah and wait. Hold on. Did I not bring his items? I will. Oh right, yeah. Though I brought his passive item, I think. No, I didn't. Oh yeah, I bring the language of the poison. That's about it. All right, cool. Never mind. All right, there goes the Rotting Riders, and now we can just wrap around. Our Daka line is in a bit of hassle, but it's not like end of the world either. Some of them can just retreat a bit while our Brigands are still holding. They're still holding. I mean, yeah, they're fine. I don't know where to drop our Manic spell in. He's using Healing Elixir, so there's no point trying to Spirit Leech him right now. And the Brigands are just holding on just fine. Yeah, there we go. And we're just punching down all the Nurglings in melee now. All good. And I have no idea what to use my Spirit Leeches on right now, and the Furies are just not, like... I'm just not doing much against the Orc Brigands. They're pretty decent in their even in melee against like chaff like Furies and and Nurglings and stuff like that. They don't really care. Alright, you can go in, I guess. There's no point hanging back there. Are you still on healing elixir? I think he switched elixirs. Wait, he turned off his elixirs? Weird. You want to keep it on whenever possible, right? Oh, he might just decided to switch. No, there's no cooldown on these elixirs, huh? Why are there no? Oh wait, yeah, he switched to the draining elixir maybe. Now he switched back to healing elixir. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Biggins, man, Biggins. Just trade really nicely in a lot of stuff. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm warming up to the Biggin unit as a whole. Like, their armor isn't great at 50 only, but like their stats are decent, great weapon strength, and slightly tougher and bigger and harder than your typical orc boys. Just that, of course, they're more expensive. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, they hold the line well as like a secondary line of things. But other than that, yeah, mostly this was a fairly simple game. My opponent wasn't really geared towards dealing with greenskins, let alone a greenskin box that nobody really expects. But yeah, let's see if we have the first replays coming in. We do have some replays coming in from round 1, so let us just start casting. Wait, hold on. Why is it happening? Why is that happening? Hold on. Alright, cool. Yep. Give me a second. We are starting to get some replay, so yeah, we can start casting the 20. Alrighty. We have the. Wait, hold on. Okay. There we go. Replays. First up, we have Unlucky Spotify versus Enda the Lion. Unlucky Spotify going for Count Noctilus with Vampire Coast versus Papa Tree Durfu with Wood Elves. Wood Elves coming in with a lot of armor piercing firepower. And Unlucky Spotify going for a rather powerful rush build with 2 Death Gods with their dual weapons, dual boarding axes. The Shade Wraith Gunners, triple Fellbats, a bunch of Scurvy Dogs, and what else? And of course, animated Hulks and Mongols guarding the backline there. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of Mongols lately. They've been quite crap ever since they came out, but apparently people are starting to take a likening of this monstrous infantry unit now, which is quite interesting in my opinion. Yeah, they just haven't been performing that well when I used them, but now they're actually seeing a lot of appearances on the battlefield. A front line of zombie powered deckhand mobs, and Count Noctilus is on foot with Moondial summon, no other zombie summons, just the 2 summons from Moondial, Melkov's Invocation of Nahak, and Wraith Storm. On the other side, oh yeah, and also Scurvy Dogs scattered across the battlefield. No, just dumped onto this end of the flank. Fellbats as well, we've talked about that. And now on the other side for the Wood Elves, a bunch of Weight Watchers as a skirmishing force. Not that there's a lot of stuff to skirmish right now. I don't know. Maybe they can get close enough and just delete those Shade Wraith Gunners before they got revealed. Maybe, perhaps. We shall see. Anyways, a bunch of infantry at the back there. Dryads protecting some Glade Gods with Starfire Shafts with a few more Eternal Gods on the flanks. Glade Riders with Spears providing some cheap and cost-efficient mobility. Papa Tree Durfu leading the army. Not having to worry about much long-range artillery today. There's no Carronades or Necrofax Colossus on the field, so Papa Tree Durfu can just walk up, but he do have to be a bit more careful about the Shade Wraith Gunners, since they do have some pretty decent range and armor piercing damage, though the Weight Watchers might just try to get close and delete them from range instead. Alright, that's it for the army boats. Just fast forward a little bit there. I'm just gonna speed up things up a bit. Weight Watchers moving up, but also revealing themselves as they fire away. Now the Mongols are moving up. They need to start running because they don't want to get tangled in that melee fight there. Oh no, they're a little bit slow here, but there are Dryads nearby which can help them screen off the Mongols for now. Just keep the Mongols. I was just gonna say that they're gonna keep the Mongols at bay, but never mind. The Mongols decided to just plow straight through the Dryads and ignore them. And the Weight Watchers are still in trouble, still getting pressured by the Mongols. But Power 3 Durflu is here, so they don't have to worry as much. Though the Shade Wraith Gunners have set up pretty nicely at the back there, sitting back and bombarding the poor Weight Watchers from afar. And also the Scurvidos managed to ambush these Glade Riders here, doing some pretty good damage, though the Glade Riders have returned with the other melee units reinforcing the Weight Watchers, trying to delete these Mongols before they can delete the Weight Watcher and Starfire Chefs. Mongols are now, the Night Terrors are now tangled up with Durflu, but Durflu is stuck in this kind of monster fight, so he's a bit exposed to the Shade Wraith Gun's fire, who is also magical damage and fully armor piercing, ignoring most of the protection that Durflu has against missiles. And Durflu already has a bit of a dent on his HP bar, especially he doesn't have any healing, right? So he's just gonna take more and more damage without any ways to mitigate that. I don't think Kos has enough to kill Durflu. Looks like this might not be the case here, because the Shade Wraith Gunners are doing just fine with putting a dent in Durflu's HP bar. And on top of that, the melee rush of the Vampire Kos is doing pretty well, with the Death Gods cleaving asunder these poor Eternal Gods and Dryad, who does not have that kind of heavy armor and melee defense to hold up against Death God's elite melee stats and anti-infantry bonus. The middle section of the Wood Elf troops are basically crumbling, collapsing, as Durflu is the only thing still holding, but he is also under heavy fire from the Shade Wraith Gunners. More Eternal Gods are pushing up, trying to reinforce this section of the army here, but yeah, things are looking quite desperate for the Wood Elves. They are out of options. These Eternal Gods are gonna fall in a matter of time against these Death Gods, who are healing themselves with that hunger. And also they are still pretty much full strength. Took some HP damage, but not a single model lost, and they have punched through the Wood Elf defenses. Only a couple Starfire Shafts are still on the field. The Weight Watchers are pretty much chased down by Scurvy Dogs and a combination of Mongols as well. The Glade Riders are just too committed in the front line, trying to stop the enemy melee rush to save the backline at this point. They're still trying to catch up to the Mongols and trying to pin them down, but the Fellbots are still in and harassing the Weight Watchers, and Death Gods are pretty much at full health, and there are no Weight Watchers. I mean, the Weight Watchers, if they can survive the enemy onslaught, they can stay ahead of the enemies long enough. Maybe they have a chance here, but they're still being pursued, and yeah, things are not doing great. At least there's one unit of Glade Riders who managed to catch the Shade Wraith Gunners at the far back there. I don't know if you have spotted it earlier, but yeah, there was like one unit that kind of ran all the way to the back there and charged the Shade Wraith Gunners. But yeah, overall at this point, the Wood Elves have little hope to bring this one back. With the loss of all their firepower, everything is under melee threat. And the Weight Watchers, despite how expensive they are, just do not have the environment to fire safely. And as a result, the Vampire Coast will be taking the lead here, getting a pretty comfortable win. And this Wood Elf army have a rather fragile front line, so they're not really suited to deal with dedicated enemy melee rush, right? Like, nothing on the Wood Elf side could have threatened the Death Gods other than the Weight Watchers, who are all being compromised by an overwhelming force of mobility. Like, the Night Terrors simply plowed through the Dryad front line there and just keep pressuring the Weight Watchers, dragging them into melee, and then the Scurvy Dogs, they have a lot of Scurvy Dogs and Fellbuds just all committed to harassing the Glade Riders, keeping the harassing the Glade Riders and Weight Watchers. Yeah, and the Glade Riders are also kind of tied down on the Mongols, unable to spare enough forces left to protect the backline of the Weight Watchers and Glade Gods, while the front line just got massacred by the Death Gods. Yeah, I think the last time I played Wood Elf versus Vampire Coast, I just went for like a full Dryad and trees and a few Swift Shiver Shards for like a full Vanguard build. But of course, this might actually done. Yeah, it probably won't work against this Vampire Coast rush build. Very nicely done by Unlucky Spotify. Their very powerful melee rush that the Wood Elves were probably not prepared for, as this is more like a kite build, and also does a lot of it needs time for this kite build, or a slightly boxy Wood Elf build perhaps. Try to hold on against the enemy box, but yeah, the enemy rush, but the fragile Wood Elf frontline was not able to stand there, stand against the might of Depth Guards. Really, it's really the Depth Guards breaching the Wood Elves rather easily. Woefully underestimated how much mobility he would bring. Yeah, that is the problem with Wood Elves. Like, when I play Wood Elves, I just don't bring missiles because everyone would expect you to spam archers and skirmishers. So what they would do is just spam their own mobility and try to overwhelm your missile power. So yeah, I'm a Khorne player, so I'm not used to having ranged units like that. That is fair. To be fair, the beauty of Total Warhammer is that you can play a supposedly ranged faction and decided to go for like a melee rush build. Like, I play Wood Elves, but I never play a skirmishing a kite build because my micro is crap, and I can't micro everything on a kiting strategy. I just melee rush. That's all I do with Wood Elves. And it works too, because everyone expects you to kite, nobody expects you to melee rush like with Zotes and War Dancers, and then they're not prepared for that. They're supposed to like send mobility to chase after your kiting units, but then you just come in with like big anti-large hammers, maces from those Zotes, and just smack their cavalry down to pieces. So yeah, there's a lot of different tactics you can play around with. But anyways, next up we have Frost versus Parry Riposte. Frost is going with a Siege, and Parry Riposte not going with Feint and Riposte today, going with Eltharion the Grim instead of a Tyrion's Feint and Riposte ability. So not exactly thematic according to the name, but of course nobody really plays thematically according to their username other than Phoenix King, and even him often plays something not elves. So yeah, anyways, now for the army build here for Frost Siege army, Zagros for the front line there, a couple of Chaos Warriors with halberds, and a few pink horrors at the back. Just a bit of a layered formation, and a lot of money went into the mobility here. Zandagors of Siege, Screamers of Siege, and same on the other side. One of the Screamers are the Shrieking Skyrays with their Lamprey's Bite Explosion though, so there's a bit of an AoE damage profile there. Self-Route the Everwatcher coming in with Final Transmutation and Final Transmutation only. The Rock of Inevitability. Interesting. I never noticed his ability over here. So yeah, this might be a nice debuff item against the enemies, against the High Elves, but we shall see what happens here. For the High Elves have brought in some skirmishers with Illyrian Reaver archers and a front line of spears, staunch line of spears backed up by a couple white lions and a line of archers as well. Mobility, very standard stuff we are seeing. Once again, the Fireborn, anti-large armor piercing and fire damage, very, very deadly as an anti-elite cavalry. Illyrian Reavers and more Dragon Princes. So yeah, quite a bit of an impactful heavy cav. We're just gonna speedrun this a bit. And Eltharion the Grim coming in with Apotheosis and Tempest. Both sides are very cautiously advancing towards each other. Eltharion, seeing Sathrel closing in, immediately dumps a Tempest onto him, trying to drain down his health, and that was very, very effective, taking out huge chunks of HP from this Siege Lord, who is not exactly the tankiest, and already putting quite a dent on his HP bar. So Sathrel has to be careful, because no doubt there will be more Tempests coming in. While the High Elf skirmishing forces will have to back off from the pink hordes firing back at them, noticing that they don't actually outrange the pink hordes that much by only 10 distance. Anyways, Zandagors are moving into the flanks here, but immediately getting overwatched by the archers here, having quite a bit of their HP chipped away, and then a counter charge from the Eltharion the Grim as well. Noticing that the flank harassment on this side doesn't work, Siege army is immediately activating the front line and dumping in a lot of their mobility on the other side, but they are up against the Fireborn here, doing a lot of good damage against the Fireborn here with all their armor piercing, the Screamers and the Zandagors, but they themselves are quite fragile, the Zandagors especially, and are taking the full brunt of the counter charge of the Fireborn. That is not great for them. At least the archers, having their attention turned to the side, are under the focus fire from all these pink hordes, immediately getting deleted. Yeah. Is our final transmutation? Yes, there is! Right onto these Fireborn. Looks like Safrel and Frost really wants to kill off this elite unit of heavy cav. Just targeting it with as much damage as possible to kill off those models and deny them from being healed. While Safrel has his barrier recharge and also activating Arcane Surge to get some more winds of magic, perhaps trying to squeeze out another final transmutation sometime soon. The Fireborn here, now being tied down by the Screamers, taking more and more damage since the Screamers, they themselves are indeed anti-large, and for once I'm seeing Screamers doing some pretty good work. As they manage to get the charge on the Fireborn and also keep pursuing them as the Fireborn retreated. And yeah, just keep pressuring those elite high elf cavalry. Pink Horrors are moving up now that they have dealt with one of the archers. They are trying to deal with the other ones, while the Zangor frontline are holding on just fine against the Spears. The Spears are going to delay the advance of the siege army for as long as possible, buying more time for the archers to maybe regroup. But this is a little bit of mistakes I've often seen in newer plays. You have your front line and your archer line too close to each other. So as a result, the enemy archers or missiles can just advance up to close enough that they can reach your archers with their own shots. So what you want to do is like either have your archers further back or have your front line further front, so that your archers can still reach the enemy front line while the enemy's archers can't reach yours. And in the case of archers, high elf archers versus siege, you can probably screen it in a way such that the high elf archers having 50 more extra range than the pink horrors, the high elf archers can probably reach the pink horrors while pink horrors can't reach back. But anyways, another final transmutation onto this blob here, trying to dumpster the remaining of this stronghold of high elf troops. Since Safrel and Eltharion are duking it out in the center here, Eltharion really trying to kill off Safrel, but Safrel is on the ground, so I think that's how he avoided all the damage from that spell. I think. Wait, I thought they changed it in a way that you can still damage them on the ground. That's weird. I thought it still damages enemies on the ground with this Tempest, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it still damages enemies on the ground with Tempest, but or it doesn't mitigate it? I'm not entirely sure, because Safrel didn't take much damage from what we saw, or maybe it's just the siege barrier blocked off most of the damage for him. Anyways, the Chaos Warriors are duking it out against the White Lions, and one of them managed to win against the White Lions, which is a pretty decent outcome for those Chaos Warriors. And the archers themselves being targeted by the pink horrors are slowly crumbling to bits, being shot up pretty badly. They have retreated, and Eltharion might need a bit of apotheosis on himself to heal, as the final transmutation and the pink horror fire focus and halberd grinding basically took down the Fireborn at this point. No more elite heavy cav for the high elves, which is quite unfortunate. A lot of valor went into that one single unit, so yeah, that was not great for the high elves. Dragon Princes are also taking a lot of losses as they were trying to push in on the front line there, but being countercharged by Zandagors, I believe, was not great for their health either. And now the White Lions are slowly crumbling under the weight of these Chaos Warriors here. Plus the Zandagors are here to help, just recharging some spears who are terrified by Safrel. And now Pink Horrors are turning around to focus fire on Eltharion the Grim, who is now slowed down and also having his melee defense dropped and re-attacked by Safrel, taking a chunk of good damage from the bird. For some reason, Bird jumped onto Eltharion, but for some reason he got whacked and flew away. Got whacked and just bumped all the way back for a good 30 meters. But yeah, with that, basically the whole front line of the High Elves basically got grind down by the Zangors and Chaos Warriors, while their backline got shut up by Pink Horrors and the Dragon Princes as well, being not having exactly greatest trades, being charged by a bunch of armor-piercing mobility in the form of Zandagors and Screamers. So yeah, one of the Screamers definitely did some pretty good heavy lifting, killing off a good chunk of those Fireborn. And Zandagors did okay. Pink Horrors did fine because they shot up a lot of those archers, and the final transmutation drained away the health of Eltharion and these Fireborn, who got targeted by the spell twice, by the way. And the Dragon Princes, unfortunately, didn't earn back much of their value. Same goes for the Fireborn. And yeah, and Eltharion too, being heavily hit by a bunch of Pink Horror Flames and Final Transmutation. How imperishable is Cetra today? We shall see. We shall see. Hey, Captain Tillis, and yeah, alright. Actually, and let me just quickly check what happened to the Dragon Princess. We saw the Fireborn getting tied down by Screamers and Zandigors and took a lot of damage, but I didn't quite catch what happened to those Dragon Princes in the process. So, excuse me for a sec there. I'm just going to reload this replay for a bit. Alright, yeah. I'm just going to quickly fast forward here and oh, we already have round 2 games coming in. Oh. And let me just quickly download some of these replays. Alright, what happened to the Dragonborn? Not Dragonborn, Dragon Princess and Fireborn. Alright. The Dragon Princess, I didn't really pay attention to them. The Fireborn got charged by Screamers and Zandigors, wrecked the Zandigors, but as they were trying to pressure the Zandigors, they were just being harassed by the Screamers. Oh, the Dragon Princess charged into Halberds! Oh, no, wait, those are Zandigors. But yeah, they're still tied down in melee, which is not great for them, and they're just stuck there. Inundated too well into enemy infantry. They took some damage, but at least they retreated. But yeah, a little bit of mistake with the placement of the archers there. They were not just... Oh no, they for some reason had a little bit of that buggy interaction where they just walked up to their opponents instead of firing. Or maybe they just have a misclick in attacking order and just walked into... Oh no, they walked into melee. Anyway, so that was very unfortunate there for the... Yeah, that was quite unfortunate there for some of those archers just walking into melee range. Over here, the Dragon Princess. Oh no, another bit of a mistake there. They were trying to charge the Pink Horse, but the deployment was not great. Like, a lot of their units were around here when they charged, so they just charged forward, and there were some Zangors right in the middle between them and their target. So a lot of them just ran into the Zangors while still trying to force path their way through the Zangors to get to the Pink Horse at the back there. And most of their unit didn't get a good charge collision onto the Pink Horse. That was quite unfortunate. That's why you need to adjust the width of your unit so that they fit through the gap between engagements, to slip your units through those gaps in the front line there. Otherwise, a lot of your units will just get stuck on enemy units and get dragged down in a prolonged combat, which is not great for them. Which is, yeah, these Dragon Princes, quite unfortunate for them. Despite managing to get some value out of themselves, it's just not great in the end, as they were just constantly stuck in a melee combat that they would have rather not be in. Alright, let me just delete that, and we start moving on to the next replays, because we have a lot to go through today, so yeah. Alright, more replays coming in. Slaanesh versus Beastman, 2 glass cannon factions, both very light armored, very fast. One has slightly more missile options than the other, but the other one has the rampaging option, which is very deadly in controlling enemy movement. So we shall see what happens here. We have Beluga playing as Slaanesh and Ainarian from MTK clan playing as Beastman. Beluga going with Azazel leading the army with a front line of rather mid-tier, not that they're mid, but mid-tier infantry here. Forsaken of Slaanesh, multiple of them, and a whole line of devoted marauders of Slaanesh with Hell Scourges. So slightly more expensive than your regular marauders, but having much better melee defense and much better odds at holding the line. And a lot of ambushers ready in the forest. Just 4 whole units of Javelin, Horsemen, and multiple Hell Striders as well, so a lot of... Oh, and Seekers. Seekers are very deadly cavalry now, especially with the devastating flanker doubling their charge bonus when they get that rear and flanking attack. Hellstriders, nothing too crazy, but also just cost efficient, I guess. And in this guy's Azazel leading army with Pavane and Equations. Pavane, of course, very standard stuff for Slaanesh these days, having the ability to rampage any unit, just keeping them trapped in engagements they'd rather not be in. And on the other side, for the Beastmen here, a front line of Angkor Spears and second line of Archers, Angkor Raiders, and at the back there, monsters in the form of Butchers of Kalkengard, Great Weapon Minos. Yeah, only one Great Weapon Minos, but they do have quite a few Santigors here, providing some solid, cost-efficient mobility. Leading the army is Malagor the Shadow, Morgor the Shadowgave. Morgor Shadowgave with their Chaos Spawn summons, and Gorbul here, providing some very powerful anti-lodge fighting power. Providing some spell support is a Brave Shaman of Death with Spirit Leech and Fate of Buna. And against Slaanesh with a lot of reliance on physical resistance and the lack of armor and healing, this will be a pretty good call with all those direct damage. Now, we might just fast forward a bit here, as both sides are deployed quite far away from each other on this map, and there's a lot of time spent on marching. And they're just trying to shift their army, especially Slaanesh here. A lot of their troops are now circling around the enemy formation, ready to envelope and perform a pincer attack onto the Beastman formation, and especially dropping that Pavane of Slaanesh, forcing those Beastmen to engage in melee, just luring them out of position. But only 6 more seconds for the Pavane to take effect, and that was more than enough though. Santigors are quite fast, and they're quickly running into a charging distance, and they're immediately getting frontal charged by Seekers and rear charged by Hellstriders. Yep, that is not great for the Santigors. They did some damage, but in the end they just got wrecked in that engagement. At least that is nothing more expensive than the Santigor, like a Minotaur. Being caught out in those kind of position would be really, really awkward. Anyways, Butchers are slamming straight into the Forsaken there. They might want some support from the Angkor Spears, because the Butchers doesn't exactly have the most armor, so they might appreciate a little bit of the infantry support. But either ways, the Angkor Spears are a little bit busy in the front line as well. Devoted Marauders are moving in, and over time they can certainly grind through all these Angkor Spears. So the Beastmen will have to win elsewhere other than the infantry engagement. At least the Butchers of Kalkengard are doing some really good damage, but they themselves taking some damage as well. Morgor the Shadowgave is acquiescence and forced to fight Azazel as Azazel dies down. Oh no, the Santigors and Minos are being dragged out of position. They are just moving out, trying to drive off the enemy Murder Horsemen, but unfortunately that led to them over advancing. And yeah, they're isolated from the friendly support. No more missile support again for them, and a lot of their infantry are also elsewhere, unable to provide them with the meat shields they need to beat back all these Seekers and Hellstriders enveloping them. They are putting up a good fight, but I don't know if they're earning back their money's worth, because the Santigors that were supposed to fight alongside them are done for, and they're now just surrounded and might be overwhelmed. Actually, never mind, the Seekers are trying to retreat right now, as the Santigors over here are trying to pressure off the enemy Marauder Horsemen. A Chaos Spawn summon already dumped right into the middle over here, just trying to smash up some of these Forsaken, though the Seekers of Slaanesh are in the position to try and isolate more pockets of Santigors and overwhelm them. But there are some Minotaurs with great weapons who have returned from being surrounded and now trying to get a charge onto some of these Seekers and Seekers, yeah, just Seekers only. And now here comes the Fate of Buna, a very deadly spell against any squishy unit, and Seekers are definitely not a tanky one. Less than 6,000 HP, and they're immediately deleted by that Fate of Buna spell, with the Minotaurs providing a bit of a follow-up attack, and both Seekers are gone in just a short engagement like that. Balance of power is slightly in favor of Slaanesh still, because they still have a lot of skirmishing firepower left, and Azazel is still okay-ish in terms of shape, I guess. And yeah, the Slaanesh do have that control over the entire battlefield, having more mobility on the field remaining, while Beastmen, their infantry are getting grind down all over the place by the Hellscourge Marauders, while the Beastmen pretty much only have the two regenerating units fighting back to back with each other, and it's just their heroes, their characters, and the Butchers of Kalkengard. Pavane of Slaanesh, not that the Rampage does anything against the Butchers right now because they're already stuck in melee, but that direct damage is still very important here, and also then the Hellstriders followed up with a rear charge. Immediately wrecks those poor Butchers with that rear and flank attack with that double charge bonus. So yeah, it's pretty much just down to the single entities now, as the Angor Spears are getting pushed off. I probably wouldn't bring Angor Raiders against Slaanesh. I just wouldn't bring any missile infantry against Slaanesh, period. Because it's very hard to protect them. With all the mobility, how fast the mobility of Slaanesh are, and also Pavane harassing them. But yeah, now that it's just Morgor and the Gorbul here, and there's not much these guys can do to take this one back, and it will be a victory of Slaanesh. Very well played by Beluga, the Slaanesh player here, managing to pick apart the Beastmen defenses pretty well, using a combination of Pavane and the fast and hard-hitting mobility of the Slaanesh army, getting very nice damage from the Seekers there, and not a lot from the Marauder Horsemen, I guess, but even the Hellstriders got a lot of damage done. So very well played from the Slaanesh player. Beastman player, unfortunately, a little bit slow in responding to those Pavanes and responding to the retreats of the Slaanesh army, trying to bring back the units and keep the formation tight. Because I mean, I find it very hard to fight against Slaanesh because of that as well. They're just too fast moving. You can't really chase after them. You just have to keep a tight formation and try to defend yourself and wear them down over time. And personally, I wouldn't bring Angor Raiders. Probably Bloodbrute Behemoth would be a better choice than maybe cut out the Angor Raiders and bring a Bloodbrute Behemoth and skip the Gorbul. Perhaps that probably might work better, but I don't know. It's a bit rough to play against Slaanesh these days, with Seekers being such a good unit. Alright, next up we have Tomb Kings versus High Elves. Is Cetra going to be imperishable today? Beastman Chaos Bone can actually perform quite well against Slaanesh. I don't know how much they cost in multiplayer though. Oh yeah, that might actually be a good idea as well. I don't know. They cost like around 900 gold to 1,000. I think they cost 1,000 gold. But they're unbreakable and they have monster mass, which is great. Just help them hold the line. But yeah, I don't know. They're still quite vulnerable to a charge from, like a flanking charge from Hellstriders and Seekers. But anyways, on the battlefield here, we have Tomb Kings versus High Elves, a front line of Skeleton Warriors on the Tomb King side, backed up by a very standard combination here. Cetra imperishable on his War Kitten, War Sphinx of Uskef, and supported by Ushabti with Great Bows, one of them the Chosen of the Gods, with more Skeleton Spears. I think this might be, yeah, this is a, I think, wait, hold on. For 1 second, I thought this was against Fruit Rose, but never mind. There's one Kepra guard here, so that is not a Skeleton Warrior. And we have 8 Skeleton Warriors and 1 Kepra guard in the front line. 8 Skeleton Warriors is the upper limit you can get for Skeletons anyway, so yeah. It is still within the limit, and Carrion in the skies, and 1 more Skeleton Horseman on the flank here. Now for the High Elves, they're a very narrow army, with only a few spears and 1 ranger in the front, supported by archers with light armor. Why is this army so light? Oh, so small. Okay, never mind. Tyrion is an expensive character, supported by a Life Mage with Regrowth and Earthblood. Once again, you probably don't want to spend your money on Life Bloom if you already brought Regrowth. Regrowth is so expensive that if you cast 1 overcast, you're gonna get 3 less uses of Earthblood. So yeah, you're gonna benefit a lot less from using Regrowth and Life Bloom together. So might want to save up that 100 gold and spend it on elsewhere. Or is it 90? I forgot. Anyways, Sylvan Guard, providing a very solid protection for these Eagle Claw Bolters, trying to counter shoot and pick out those Ushabtis, I believe. Lion Chariots of Shreys. Interesting. Like, normally when you're fighting Tomb Kings, you're expecting to fight Constructs, so what you need is probably a Fireborn, but there's no Fireborn on the field today. Silver Helms and a Sun Dragon. So a lot of fire damage on the field, with the Talons of Torquelada to perhaps synergize with it. So we shall see what happens here as we fast forward once again. But yeah, no Fireborn on the field, which makes me quite worried about how they're going to take down all these, these tough large targets. But yeah, I guess the Sun Dragon's Breath Attack is doing some really good work against the Kepra Guard. But the Kepra Guard is regenerating, so not a lot of model kills, so they're gonna hold on there and slowly regenerate. Oh no! What are you doing? Just walk up and start fighting. Don't do this kind of move here. Don't try to send your units up piecemeal, and you're just gonna get focus fired down like that. But yeah, was that another breath attack? Never mind. Another breath attack here, burning down the skeleton warriors, but you probably want to save that for the Kepler Guard, because they are the more valuable option for you to burn down. Anyways, the archers are a little bit busy here, trying to shoot down the Carrions in the skies who are harassing the Sun Dragon. But Cetra is in, and he's just pummeling these poor talented Percolator. Oh no! A regrowth on spears? That is not a great use of spears, of the regrowth spell, because you're spending a lot of magic healing up a cheap unit. You're not getting as much value back from that unit as in regrowth onto the Sun Dragon. That was a bit of a mix up in the healing target. Regrowth should have went onto the Sun Dragon and Earthblood onto the infantry on the ground, because Earthblood you can heal both units, both the Rangers and the spears at once. But you can't do that with regrowth on the front line there. Well, regrowth would get more HP back from one single unit, which is the Sun Dragon. Anyways, Lion Chariots are slamming into the skeleton spears, but not that they care, because they're taking damage, but whatever, man, they're just skeletons. They don't have a morale penalty from getting attacked in the rear. No, they do, but it just doesn't rout them off. But yeah, anyways, the Silverhelm's trying to hunt down the Ushaptis, but they do not have the armor piercing the Fireborn have, so they didn't do much damage to the Ushapti before they themselves go down. Now, Sun Dragon trying to drop a breath attack onto the Chosen of the Gods. Did some damage, but not something too amazing, because the breath attack from the Sun Dragon is best dropped onto something, say, like a infantry blob. So this blob of skeleton warriors would be very juicy for a breath attack, or just drop it on the Kepler Guard, who has a weakness to fire of 20% because of their regeneration ability. But yeah, this would be a nice blob. That would be a nice blob for the breath attack, but not here. And yeah, the Fire Dragon, the Sphinx of Uskef turning his gaze upon the Sun Dragon. And the Sun Dragon is just going to get wrecked by this anti-large elite single entity monster. So I think that is it. The Tomb King's player is getting a pretty dominant lead in the battlefield. Not the balance of power, but you can see the missile assets of the High Elves are being compromised. One skeleton horseman managed to break down 2 archer units, and the Eagle Couple Throwers have been dealt with as well. And then Tyrion, he is a beast of a fighter. Actually managed to bring down Cetra down to half HP. So very impressive from the guy. He's only on foot too, so like getting extra melee stats because of that. But yeah, he is he can't actually bring this back on himself by himself. As the Lion Chariots are getting dragged down in melee, infantry-wise, the skeletons are not exactly a match for the spears and rangers, but they have too much numbers for the spears to hold on over time. And especially when the Ushaptis at the back are safe, and now they're just pummeling these poor spears from afar. Yeah. It is just a matter of time before the High Elf crumbles. And yeah, there we go. I don't think the High Elf player ever played against a meta TK build. I think the High Elf player is probably one of the newer players, even among new players. That's probably why, because this is definitely not like a typical multiplayer build from a High Elf army. Like, I have not seen Sun Dragon in ages now. I wouldn't say archers with light armor is a bad call, because they do have some better melee defense and slightly better armor than a regular archer. So that helps them survive against something, say a Carrion dropping in, or some skeleton horses trying to harass them. But that is just, those stats are just to buy them a bit more time for survive a bit longer against skeletons and buy more time for other units to reinforce. But overall, I think this is just not a typical High Elf build you see in multiplayer, and yeah. And a lot of the micro as well. It's I think it's just the player is not really familiar with how a lot of the things works in multiplayer, which is very normal. Like there's a lot to learn when you're picking up this game, and especially all the, like, we have like now 25 factions or something like that, 100 legendary lords. So that means there's a lot of different nuances between each ability, how different abilities and units interact with each other, and it takes time for you to pick up those stuff. I mean, a lot of us who who are active in the multiplayer community have played the games for literal years. Like, I think. Oh shit! I think 1 or 2 more years, and then like next year or the year after, wait. When did? Hold the fuck up. When did Total War Warhammer came out? 2016, I think. When did it came out? Holy fuck. 2016. May 24th, 2016. So next year, next week, next year, it's gonna be a 10-year anniversary of Total War Warhammer. Fuck, I'm old now. Oh, shit. But yeah, this game has been out for years, and a lot of people have been playing it for literal years. So definitely, like, things have changed a lot over all this time, and yeah, it's yeah, it takes time for new players who just join to, like, especially when you're shifting from single player to multiplayer. A lot of stuff you learned from single player is not applicable in multiplayer, and suddenly you have to change up a lot of pre-existing knowledge you already have, and a lot of pre-existing habits you need to fix those as well, which is much harder than just learning from scratch. So yeah, it's very normal to have this kind of to take some time to get used to the multiplayer. But shit, man, next year it's gonna be 10-year anniversary of Total Warhammer. Fuck. I think I started playing in 2017. No, 2016. Yeah, I think I started playing in 2016. Like around the end of 2016, probably. Yeah, it's fuck. Anyways, Cetra took a lot. Got a lot done alongside the Ushabtis, and of course the Sphinx just beating down the poor Sun Dragon there. Sun Dragon going up against something it definitely did not want to fight, and yeah, GG to both players. Noska versus Vampire Count next. We have B-Zaga versus the Sniper. B-Zaga with Skyla, and that is Skyla is, I've seen him a few more times these days because people realize he can actually rampage people with the explosion. So that makes him a lot more useful when you want to control enemy movement, keeping key targets in the fight. It's kind of akin to like a net ability. As long as you can get Skyla near an enemy and just get them in contact with his explosion. So yeah, it can be quite useful if used correctly. But where's the guy? Yeah, over here. Kill for Corn, explosion that can imbue rampage on contact. Now on the front line there, Marauders, they're supported by a bunch of javelins ready to shoot down enemy monsters, especially like I guess crypt horrors maybe. But yeah, we shall see what kind of monsters are they going to shoot down. Norskin Ice Wolves leading the army, Throg the Troll King, supported by a Plague of Rust and Searing Doom Shaman Sorcerer. Wait, no Skin Wolves, you're right, there's no Skin Wolves, which might be a bit of an issue. There's nothing to counteract something, say, like a Blood Knight or charging into the back line, which might be a bit of a problem, but there are a lot of Horsemasters, and their javelins can be quite deadly even against heavy armored cavalry. So we shall see what happens here. On the other side, oh wait, what did Throg have? The Winter Tooth Crown, which imbues extra melee defense and Unbreakable Trait. They're making units hold and fight till the end of time, or until the ability wears off. Fight or die for extra melee attack and leadership. I probably would skip fight or die, but you probably, okay, never mind, you probably need that against the Vampire Counts. But anyways, on the other side, for the Vampire Counts, a lot of zombies, skeletons, and in the sky some fell bets, backed up by some Dire Pack and Blood Knights. A lot of anti-large mobility, not that there's a lot of large targets to fight other than these rather swift and agile Murder Horse Masters, but of course, if they get caught, they're just gonna fall quickly in melee, regardless if their target is anti-large, because they're quite fragile. But yeah, we're just gonna start fast-forwarding here as the Horse Masters are trying to whittle down the Fellbats and trying to eliminate this kind of fast mobility, which is pretty much the only thing that can catch them on the field. Oh wait, never mind, there's also a Dire Pack, but yeah. The Horsemasters are just teasing the Vampire Counts player, and Skyla dumped straight into the battle here. trying to smash up the Necromancer, also turning on the explosion, keeping the Necromancer in the fight. Though Skylar, for some reason, is not delivering any attack animation, which is not great, but yeah, anyways. Marauders are charging in, quickly wrecking those stuff in the front line, and oh no, the Necromancer on the corpse cards, getting absolutely pin-cushioned by the anti-large Javis. But of course, the Blood Knights, noticing that threat on the flank, they decided to just jump in and charge. But Ice Wolves and Frog are trying to hold the line there. They're not going to hold much longer against Blood Knights, but they're just trying to buy more time, I guess, for the Marauders in the front line to break through the enemy chaff and then maybe return to help or something. I don't know, man, because right now the Blood Knights are trying to make some headway on the flanks and get to the Javelins, but yeah, the Murder Horses are still roaming. The Murder Horse Masters being much faster. They're just free to quickly reposition and just fire into the back of those Blood Knights. And yeah, but yeah, oh no, the Metal Caster, Shaman Sorcerer, is dealt with, being sniped out by the Terragai's Strigoi Vampire Lord, who is, wait, hold on. He has a lot of spells. Spirit Leech, Invocation of Nahek, Go King of Ushuran, which is basically a self-casting regrowth. Claws of Morkin to boost his weapon damage, and Power Stone for extra regeneration of magic. Death Shriek from the Terragai. So yeah, he's a very strong, tanky single-entity fighter right now. But yeah, the front line-wise, the zombie chav are being dealt with, so the Marauders are coming back to support. Although the caster is dead, so there's no more metal spells for the Northern army right now. That might be a problem. Blood Knights, though, yeah, they have just been being shot in the back by a bunch of Horsemaster Javelins, which is not great for them. There's no tools nearby for the undead to deal with all these skirmishing cavalry now that the Felbats are all dead from being shot up by Javelins. So that might be a problem for the Vampire Counts at this point. The Vampire Counts with the Strigoi Terragais trying really hard to take out those characters. Being a very powerful single entity fighter, the Strigoi Vampire Lord is taking out Skyla and probably gonna take him down soon. He's taking some damage, but with all his self-regenerating perks, the regeneration from being a Strigoi and also the Terragais, hunger healing from being in melee, and then occasionally the Gold King of Ushuran. Like, this guy is just not gonna have his HP dropped below half until his heal cap starts showing up at this point. But yeah, the Javelins are a bit of a big problem here, though, because they're just sitting back and slowly but surely whittling down all those Blood Knights who are just too busy fighting in melee. Especially when they're in melee, the banner of the Blood Keep the flag of the Blood Keep doesn't activate, so they don't have any extra missile resistance here. Even with their what 90 armor, 110 armor, it's still quite a painful experience to sit in front of 8 armor piercing per shot from the Horsemasters. And yeah, the Gold King of Ushuran, the Strigoi Vampire Lord, now fighting not really one-on-one, trying to go after the Frog, but surrounded by Javelins and enemy, anti-large Javis especially. Like the Terragais doesn't have great armor. 72 isn't bad, but also not the greatest, especially against anti-large Javelins. He's taking a ton of damage from the crossfire of Javelins. And yeah, looks like that was enough to burst down the poor Strigoi. I didn't even catch what his ability was. And he goes down. The poor Necromancers, though, for sure. No Skin Wolves seems to not be a problem here, as they don't really need to protect anything. Like the Marauder Hunters with Javelins are being caught in melee and stuff, but they themselves are decent enough melee combatant, so they're just holding their own with Throg and Ice Wolves helping out. The Marauders in the front line beat down the zombie chaff, and Graveguard seems to struggle to break through as well, so the Javelins, especially these Horsemasters, sitting at the back there, just allowing the Blood Knights to run down the Javelin Hunters, and while they just dunked all their Javelins into the back of the poor Blood Knights, and managed to profit from that one. They lost their caster, but that was not a big problem, and Throg also did very well in melee fight. Salah Angravim didn't really do that much, but yeah, that's fine. The Javelins picked up their slack. Especially this one Javelin here, man, that did so much damage. Just pincushion those poor Necromancer, and once the Strigoi Vampire Lord was too distracted by fighting Throg, those Javelins came back, returned from routing, and just shoot the shit out of poor Strigoi over there. Blood Knights unfortunately didn't earn back their worth on the Vampire Count side. fun tourney so far. I'm glad everyone seems to be enjoying it. So yeah. In its defense, the Blood Knights just feel awesome in campaign. They do. Like, I feel like the Blood Knights are probably the one unit with the most swag in the entire game. I like the blood red armor, and their armor design just looks so cool. But yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like the entirety of the Vampire Counts roster needs some kind of update. The roster haven't received any update ever since they got their Bloodline Lord. So yeah, no new units, no new characters, no new tools, and they've just been like that ever since. And it's I feel like they're struggling in the new meta. But yeah, yeah. Oh, on the side note, thank you everyone for joining me on the stream. If you can, if you have a little bit more, a few seconds, it would be great if you can just hit the like button down below, and it helps with the algorithm and helps promoting the channel. So I would appreciate if you can just hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. Now back to the battles here. This is probably round 2 battle, I think. Beluga versus Pasha here. 2 mobility factions, kind of mobility. Yeah, Slaanesh versus Kislev. Slaanesh going with a line of Marauders in the front line. They're Marauder Hell Scourges and regular Marauders, with some Forsaken on the flanks ready to flank around and wrap and envelope the enemy formation there. A lot of mobility, Vanguard deployed, Hellstriders, Furies, and they're just Seekers. No Seekers, interesting. Just Hellstriders. I guess a lot of money went into the front line, just going for how many units on the how many units wide is this front line? 6 Marauder infantry and 4 more Forsaken, so that's 10 whole melee infantry on the field. And then there's also the Herald of Slaanesh coming in with Pavane, the gate, the Portal Glyph for the Fury summons, and Acquiescence. I'm just listening podcast style while shopping groceries. Perfect. That's the best way to enjoy YouTube streams, I feel like. Just listening to the content, because sometimes you can't catch everything on screen anyways. For the Kislev army, they're going with wait. That is just a single entity spam plus a Rohirrim around them. Cosby Dervishes with Griffin Legion and a bunch of Horse Archers. With double Frostworm, a Patriarch for healing with the Solex Lullaby. They didn't even bother bringing the Vigor Refresh. Just Solex Lullaby. Incarnate Elemental of Beast to grind down enemy infantry. So a lot of cavalry just trying to they're trying to out-kite freaking Slaanesh. Oh no, the Horse Archers are trying to run away from the Hellstriders instead of charging into them. So yeah, they got caught. These Horse Archers and Horse Dervishes got caught in the charge. They probably should have sent those mobility, sent the Griffin Legions charging forward into those Hellstriders, because right now they got charged. They didn't get their own charge off, and they're taking a ton of damage here. At least the single entities are trying to help. Griffin Legion being rampaged into one of the infantry there, and they're not enjoying it at all. Taking a lot of direct damage from the Pavane. Ice Witch of Tempest. Oh, this might be the end of the Rohirrim build. All these mobility, all these cavalry being stuck, pinned down in this blood fight. And the Marauder infantry are able to catch up and start dragging them down in melee. Horse Archers are falling, quite unfortunately. They're being constantly harassed there, while infantry, a lot of these infantry, Slaanesh infantry, manage to catch up onto the enemy cavalry, putting a dent in their HP bar. Definitely doing some decent work here. While Furies and Hellstriders diving into the backline, just slowing down the retreat of all these Horse Archers. And now these Forsaken of Slaanesh with 51 speed, managing to catch up and start smashing apart whatever they come into contact with, especially the Horse Archers and Dervishes having a rather light armor. But there is still one problem for the Slaanesh army though. How are they going to take down all these single entities? That might be a bit of a problem, especially if there are more AoE spells coming in from the Ice Witch with Hawks of Miska and Hailstorm to bombard the enemy target. Though bad news for the Kislev army is that the Patriarch has been caught in the middle of a bunch of Forsaken and the Herald of Slaanesh as well. So the Ice Witch has to move over to save him. But yeah, even if the Patriarch managed to get out of there, it might be a bit of an issue for him to survive at this point, because the Furies can just move over to hunt him down. Forsaken continues to pressure him. He is routing, so at least he's gonna stay out of melee for now. But yeah, I don't know if this one incarnate elemental of beast can carry this game here, as all the cavalry of Kislev has been compromised and dealt with at this point. This is quite rough. That is quite rough for Kislev at this point. Only the single entities remain, and oh no, the Patriarch shattered. And he only used one Salax Lullaby here. All these single entities will just be slowly grind down, I believe. But of course, the Slaanesh army still have to be careful. He doesn't want to blob up too much, otherwise bombardments like the Hailstorm is going to put a dent on his infantry HP bar. But right now, the Herald of Slaanesh might want to get out of there, being targeted by all these single entities and taking a lot of damage. But yeah, at least they managed to take down the Ice Witch, and that led to a cascading leadership effect. And that is going to be army losses, I think. GG to both players here, and yeah, Pasha here, very ambitious attempt with the Rohirrim build, but unfortunately against a much faster opponent with the ability to rampage you into melee fights. These horse archers and dervishes were not quite able to outrun Slaanesh. And the single entities tried hard, but definitely not enough to take down an almost full 20 stack of Slaaneshite troops there. Yeah, the Forsaken managing to use the Hellstriders pin down the retreating horse archers, dervishes, and the rampage of the Pavane to lure these Griffin Legion into fights, into random marauder infantry targets, and then just keep them there stuck in a melee fight. It's just really nice for Slaanesh to win this game, to just outmaneuver the enemy mobility. It's really hard to outmaneuver Slaanesh because of that. Their units are faster, even their infantry are faster than your regular infantry, and they also have the ability to pavane your stuff, rampage your stuff into melee fights and force you to take the fight when you try to retreat and look for new engagements. So yeah, that is not great for anyone to try and outrun Slaanesh. And that will be a quite resounding victory for the army of Slaanesh. And let's see if we have more replays coming in. Give me a second there. I need to search up where... Okay, this is where we stopped downloading replays. And these are the other replays coming in. Yeah, that's where we stopped. Okay, cool. Got Scene versus Vampire Counts, Anarian versus Milky Way. Hold on. Wait, we have the Tomb Kings versus Tomb Kings battle. Interesting. Let's see what happens with that one. But yeah, let me just move the replays over first. Give me a second. Yep, we have a lot of replays just came in. Let me refresh that. And also let me check what the brackets are looking like right now. We're on to the final round of the tourney. Okay. Alright, next up, Wood Elves versus High Elves. High Elves going for a staunch line of spears. 4 spears, 1 rangers, 4 archers with light armor, 1 shadow warriors, and 4 Illyrian Reavers and 3 Illyrian Reaver archers, one of them. The Regiment of Renown... Wait. What is their name again? Regiment of Renown... Shit. Give me a second. Let me slow down. I forgot their name. Heralds of the Wind, yeah, with 100 speed, I think, no? 105 speed, okay, yeah. Being one of the fastest ground cavalry on the in the game. Anyways, what else do we have here? I think that's about it for the main army. A little bit of a spell support from Mage of Beast with Flock of Doom, leading the army Tyrion with Sunfang, Feign and Repulse, and Stand Your Ground. On the other side, for the Wood Elves, front line of Eternal Guard, second line of Way Watchers, and Glade Guards with Hackbane tips. Interesting. Yeah, it's not bad. Like, it's a nice poison debuff to enemies, and Blade Riders with spears guarding the back line there, and yeah, this might be a bit rough, like up against a lot of archers from the High Elf side. Therefore, the Tree Papa leading army with Flock of Doom and Sword of Dave. But yeah, against high elves, it's quite hard for wood elves to outshoot them, just because how cheap those archer line high elves have at their disposal. Sometimes you can even see high elves trying to outskirmish wood elves in the form of spamming shadow warriors and trying to outkite Way Watchers. But right now, yeah, the Larry Weavers and the High Elf Archers are just moving into position and just showering those poor Way Watchers with arrows. And Way Watchers being a very elite skirmisher, every arrow they take is just gonna be hurt way more than the archers taking damage on the High Elf side. You can see all those volume of fire from the archers are showering those poor Glade Gods and Way Watchers, and they're taking a lot of damage in the process. Dryads getting charged by Ilarian Reavers. Probably should have kept the Dryads in the front line instead of kept them on the flanks, because their main thing is to duke out against enemy infantry. All the Eternal Gods are supposed to be the one guarding the flanks, but right now the Way Watchers are not having a good time at all, being hit by a bunch of archer fire. That's why I don't bring archers against high elves as a wood elf player if I play wood elves. What I would bring is probably a bunch of war dancers trying to punch down the enemy spear line, and Zotes with a bunch of mobility to try and break into the enemy backline, perhaps. But yeah, it's a tough fight for wood elves to play against high elves, just because high elves have the ability to hold down the front line with spears and outshoot your archers with their own archers and Loven Seaguard. Wild Hunters of Kurnos have emerged from the tree line. I totally missed out on that one unit. I guess they were hiding in the trees and trying to make some headway by beating down those Ilarian Reavers and trying to get to the enemy backline. Some Blade Riders also breaking through the flanks here, trying to harass the enemy archer line, but it might be too late for those Way Watchers at this point. Tree Papa Durfu holding that middle block there. Shadow Warriors and Archers, what are you doing? You need to retreat. They're getting dragged into melee for some reason. A little bit of micro mistake from the high elf player there. Though the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, they are being countered pretty hard by the Ilarian Reavers with Archers, because they are not fast enough to catch up to the Ilarian Reaver Archers, but at the same time they also have nothing to protect them from those Archer fire. They have light armor, their shields are facing not the right way. I mean, they still have to charge down the enemy units, so that is a pretty good call to just charge into the enemy Archer line and break them down. But they themselves are taking a lot of fire from the Archer skirmishing. Though in the middle there, Tree Papa Durfu combined with his Sword of Dave and Flock of Doom managed to drain down the middle blob of enemy spears and archers, and quite unfortunate for the high elf player here, getting a lot of units being broken down in the middle section of the army. And the wood elves are making a pretty good comeback here as the high elf archers are getting broken down pretty badly, forcing the high elves to even commit their Ilarian Reaver archers to try and fend off those Glade Riders. But overall, the wood elf infantry line is pushing, and there's still a couple rather healthy archer unit at the back, ready to just shower enemy with their own archer fire. We're gonna fast forward a bit here as Tyrion is still on foot. He's struggling to catch up to the enemies and trying to get into fights he wants to be in. He wants to stay on top of Durfu and try to beat him down throughout the game, but unfortunately he is just trying to go after archers right now, and probably not the best use of his time. Archers can be Way Watchers can be dealt with by using archers to shoot them, while the archers shooting at Durfu is gonna take them a while to bring this heavily armored with physical resistance treatment down, and he also has a lot of HP. The archers are gonna put a dent on his HP bar, but it's gonna take time, which is not exactly in favor of the high elves right now. So yeah, Tree Papa Durfu marching slowly but steadily towards the archers and just slap them with his Amber Sword. And Way Watchers nice Sunfang onto the Dryads, doing some nice damage. But yeah, the Glade Gods and Way Watchers have moved up and now starting to clean up the Wood Elf backline alongside with the help of the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, and that's the victory of the Wood Elves there. Very nicely done by the Wood Elves, pulling this one back, managing to send in troops from the flanks there, breaking through and strike down the enemy archer line. But also I do think that the high elf player made some mistakes with deploying the archers especially having some of them walking into melee and unfortunately getting dragged down. They could have stood back and just keep firing at the enemy Weight Watchers and Glade Guards and eliminate them early, but yeah, that was unfortunate. And yeah, while Hunters of Konos and Glade Riders were able to break into the enemy archer line, silencing them, and that is the only reason why the Weight Watchers managed to survive till the late game and did enough damage there. Because one of the Glade Guards being shot up by archers, you can see they didn't earn back that much damage. And yeah, mistakes coming from both sides, but seems like Enda the Lion had a better composition of army and better execution of tactics and managed to win out against High Elves. And yeah, the archers could have done a bit more, but unfortunately they just didn't really have a safe environment to sit back and shoot. That was probably the biggest issue there. Flock of Doom's coming in really nicely for both sides, as they were both flopping up pretty hard. And Flock of Doom was able to earn back quite a bit of value as a result. Next up, High Elves versus Siege. Siege with Frost, they're going with double Zangors, double Chaos Warriors with Halberds, double Pink Horrors, double Xantagors, double Screamers, one of them, the Shrieking Skyrays, and a single Changebringer. Unit leading the army is this After All again? Or is it a Keeper of Secrets? I think it's a Keeper of Secrets. Siege versus Counts is very fast. We shall see, but yeah. Anyways, Exalted Lord of Change, actually. Oh wait, Keeper of Secrets is... No, it's Slanesh, sorry. Lord of Change. Exalted Lord of Change here with Pink Fire and Blue Fire, just acting as a bit of a mobile artillery, while the High Elves there going for a build with a lot of infantry, spears in the front with White Lions, second line of archers, and a third line of Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, and one Silver Guard guarding the artillery. Some Ilarian Reavers, or is it Silverhelms? Ilarian Reavers and Silverhelms on the far flank. Same, I assume same for the other side. Yep. Same for the other side. So yeah, a pretty standard. I feel like this build of High Elves is very campaigny almost. Yeah, I just feel like that. But yeah, I think there is a little bit of mistake in the movement order, because you can see a lot of white lines and Silver and Guard just trying, for some reason, crossing around the battlefield, and are almost reversing their position. That was they're not really exactly doing anything here other than using up a lot of their own vigor. But yeah. Oh, are these mobility forgotten by the High Elf player? That might be the case here. Blue Fire and Pink Fire are just burning down these poor archers, doing some substantial damage already, which is not great. Now the archers are trying to retreat, and spears are gonna hold against the halberd and Zangors for now. But Xantagors are in the back line, and there is no mobility to fend them off, as the Ilarian Reavers and Silverhelms are positioned too far away to help. And now the archers are in a mass exodus. The Ilarian Reavers and Silverhelms are trying to get to the enemy backline and run down the Pink Horrors, but the problem is that all these archers, they're completely overwhelmed by the sheer amount of Xantagors and Screamers, and I think that is GG for the High Elf archer line. They can try to grind it through with the infantry, but I doubt they can do much here. Archmage of Death only have Fate of Buna, but not a whole lot of good targets to use them on. Maybe the Xantagors is a good one. Xantagors is definitely a good one, actually. But unfortunately, I feel like what... Yeah, I think we can fast forward this one, unfortunately. No, with all due respect, I don't think this is gonna be much of a quick battle, as the High Elves are pretty much just sitting there with their whole line of infantry getting rear charged, cycle charged, and burnt down by the Changebringers. Like, the archers are completely unprotected, exposed, and completely ran down by the Xantagors and Screamers. And then the infantry at that point would just become sitting ducks to enemy rear charges. At least the Silverhelms and Ilarian Reavers are still able to deliver some rear charges, but now they're stuck in the middle of a bunch of halberds and taking a bunch of damage as well. Well, they went back over there to try and fend off some Xantagors, but yeah, overall, Especially without the archer fire, there's nothing to help them against the Chainbringers, and they are just getting burnt down en masse all over the place. But yeah, that is going to be GG here. With the Chainbringers earning the bulk of their value, and yeah. And it's pretty much, with only infantry left on the ground, it's pretty much a matter of being pink fire and blue fire to death for most of them. Silver helms are going to survive longer in front of spells, but there are still some rather healthy Tandagors ready to recharge your stuff to death over and over again. And yeah, there's not much the high elves can do here other than sitting there and hopefully grind through it all, but it's yeah. That was the end. Norscan versus Tomb Kings next. Do we have the final round finish? That's the real question here. Still have a few more battles in the final round, so we shall see. But yeah, anyways, Norska versus Tomb Kings here. B-Saga with Norska versus Leoduro with the Tomb Kings. Leoduro going with, once again, Cetra with a Sphinx of Uskev. No other single entities. Just these two are pretty much needed to duke it out in a proper fight. A front line of Skeleton Warriors, 5 Spears, 2 regular Sword and Shield, 2 Skeleton Archers, 2 Necro Horsemen, and 3 Horse Archers, 1 Necropolis Knights. I think that's the one with Halberds. Rarely see these guys, but they might perform quite well in an anti-large row against the Norscan monsters. We shall see what happens here, as the Norscan army brought Wolfric the Wanderer, and once again, Skyla Enfringram for his rampaging effect, I assume, and also pretty decent armor-piercing melee fighting power. Front line of just Marauders there to hold the line, and 3 more Marauder Hunters with Javelins to maybe shoot down the enemy constructs. And combined with Armor Sundering from these Familiar Warriors and that Plague of Rust from the Shaman Sorcerer, that is a total of minus 90 armor if you overcast the Plague of Rust. And of course, Wolfric the Wanderer having the Hunter of Champions, that is a maximum of 120 armor debuff onto Cetra the Imperishable, and can hurt him quite a bit with those Javelins throwing in. We shall see what happens here, as we do have some Horse Archers in the front. Yeah, we shall see what happens in this fight here. For the rest of the Norscan army, Norscan Ice Wolves ready to harass the enemy, mobility, and pressure their backline as well. No long-range construct to worry about, so the Norscan army probably can just take their time to advance. Although there are indeed some Horse Archers ready to just shoot down the Norscan army, so they might have to be careful a bit here. I guess Wolfric decided to take matters into his own hands right now, and is already taking down a few of these Horse Archers. But seeing 2 very angry constructs rushing in, yeah, he's just gonna back the hell out of there. And Skeleton Archers lined up rather straight, and that man, bolt, Seafang bolt hit can go straight down the line and hit both of these Skeleton Horse regular foot archers there. So that was quite unfortunate for the Tomb King's army here. And Javelins are firing in, trying to work down Cetra's health. On top of that, a Searing Doom onto the Skeleton Archers. Very nice combined arm strategy from the Norscan army right now. Javelins pressuring the construct, and while taking away the attention of the Tomb King's players, in comes the Searing Doom and Seafang to delete the enemy archer line. And now the Marauders are in the fight against the Skeleton Spears and Skeleton Warriors, trying to take them down in melee. Skeleton Spearman being hit by Skyla Enfringram's explosion attack, rampaging into the fight. Oh, here comes the... Oh, here's what I was saying, man. Here comes the Armor Sundering, plus a Plague of Rust upgraded, plus Hunter of Champions. Cetra, originally having like, what, 100 armor? Yeah, 120 armor. Yep, no armor now. No other armor now. Base value 95, what else is... What other armor did he have from the other stuff? I don't think that makes sense, but either ways, it doesn't matter. Cetra does not have any armor right now. He's as naked as he's as naked as a Dwarven Slayer at this point, and on top of that, he has a massive hitbox. So it's very easy for these Javelins to land a hit on him. So 120 armor debuff onto Cetra the Imperishable, and Javelins flying in, absolutely focusing him down. Hunter of Champions, Overcast, Plague of Rust, and Armor Sundering from the Premier Warriors. Yeah, he just got half his HP nuked down there. And even after the Hunt of Champions won off, there's still the Plague of Rust Overcast version. And still, yeah, dropping his armor down to around 35. Alright, we're going to slow down a bit once again. A lot of stuff happening. Ice Wolves charging into the rear there, catching those Neakara Horsemen and just overwhelming them in melee. And the front line there, Necropolis Knights with halberds trying to hold the line, but up against so much large, anti-large armor-piercing targets. They are in a little bit, they're biting off a bit more than they can chew. And even the Sphinx of Uzkev is taking a ton of damage now from the Javelin-focused fire. 3 whole units of Javelins are nothing to laugh at. Holy shit. Just stripping, absolutely pin-cushioning these heavy armored constructs. Or, I mean, in this case of Cetra, stripped down constructs. Absolutely got stripped of all their armor, pretty much. But yeah, the front line of the Tomb King's army is no longer holding, as the Marauders are grinding through those skeletons. And there's just a lot of Marauders and not a lot of skeletons left in the front line. With the double constructs still reinforcing the back line, and the Ice Wolves of course cannot stand in front of all the terror from these constructs, so they are quickly routing off. But the problem is that now the front line has been broken through. The front line of the Tomb King's army has collapsed. Now the Familiar Warriors are rushing into the back line, once again threatening the double constructs with their armor sundering power, and also of course anti-large armor piercing with their great weapons as well. So yeah, the Javelins are almost out of ammo, but they have earned their worth and then some more. Holy shit, 1,600 gold worth of damage value on both of these ones. And do they have more? No, they don't have as much, but they also have a lot more ammo remaining, so they have a lot more damage potential right now. But anyways, Oshapti summons being dropped into the fray, trying to hold on for the Tomb Kings, but I don't think that's going to be enough here. More Javelins being thrown into the fray, and that shall be GG, as the anti-large Javelins manage to hunt down those big armored constructs. B-Sega very nicely done with that armor sundering combo here. Yeah, with the armor sundering, Plague of Rust, and Hunter of Champions. Absolutely deleting Cetra the Imperishable right then and there. Yeah, of course, I mean, the Javelins are MVP, but at the same time, same goes for all those armor debuffs from the caster, from the Lord, and these armor sundering monsters. And yeah, very well played with this armor sundering combo. This has been a combo existing quite a long while. And very, very happy to see it being used once again in the community. And yeah, that was quite unfortunate for Leodero here. Usually a very solid game plan with Cetra and the Sphinx of Uzkev, especially against Norsca, but the Norscan army has very well prepared and ready themselves against these heavy armored constructs there, with all those armor sundering stripping away the best protection of the constructs against anti-large javelins. That was a brutal armor debuff combo. Those Searing Doom casts are massive. Oh, yeah, of course. The Searing Dooms are also really good at taking out multi-entity models, even for stuff like Necropolis Knights and, of course, the Skeleton Archers. Wait, did they drop Searing Doom onto the Necropolis Knights? I need to check. Hold on a second. I'm gonna jump back in to check that, because just want to be sure. Because Searing Doom is actually a really good spell. I think it's way too good. It's good against basically everything. He dropped it into the double group cavalry. Okay, that makes sense. Let me just fast forward again. Drop both of them to 40%-ish. Yeah, Searing Doom, I feel like it's almost too good of a spell. Like, it's just good against everything. Infantry, cavalry, multi-entity monsters. It's just not good against single entity. But even then, like, if you have a big enough single entity, it also does damage. Alright, I'm gonna fast forward here and wait for another Searing Doom to pop up, and then we'll jump into another replay. Give me a second there. Nice Sea Fang, by the way. Very nicely placed. Yeah. Do we see any more explosion in the front line? Oh no, this is like a prime target for Searing Doom, because there are like 4 units of cavalry bunched up together. Maybe 3 now. But even then, most of these, oh, no, the damage. Yeah, that was a brutal Searing Doom. And these skeleton horsemen also, horse archers also took quite a bit of damage in the process too, as they were also part of the blob. Yeah, that was a brutal Searing Doom for sure. Alright, do we have the semifinals already? Hold on a second. No, apparently there are still people duking it out in this round 4. So yeah, next replay then. Wait, hold on. What kind of replays do we have right now? Okay, that's TZ versus V count. Okay. TK. Do we have another Tomb Kings versus Tomb Kings? No. No way, right? What? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Yeah, we have... Do we have a round 4 Tomb Kings versus... What? Okay, I'm gonna check that one out, because apparently we have 2 replays that had the same name on the Discord channel. Sorry, I need to do a bit of renaming just to make sure one replay doesn't override the other in case they are both different replays. And also download whatever replays I haven't downloaded yet from the Discord server. Hold on a second, sorry. Alright, now we're back to the battlefield. Now, for the Tomb King's army here, once again, we are seeing Cetra on his War Sphinx, plus a Sphinx of Uzcat on the field. This was a pretty much similar build we've seen from B-Saga? Was it B-Saga? From, I think it's, yeah, from the same, it's pretty much the same replay, Tomb King build with that, from the first Tomb King battle we've seen, I think. Anyways, a front line of skeleton spears and warriors with one single Capra guard in the front line there. More skeleton warriors guarding the double Ushapti Great Bowls, one of them the chosen of the gods. Sphinx of Uzcav, etc. the Imperishable with only Usirian's Incantation of Vengeance, which is a pretty good spell. Wait, no, there's no Lord of Neakara passive? No! If you're spamming spell, you definitely want the Lord of Neakara passive just to get some passive heals across your army. Whenever you cast spells. But yeah, anyways, it would have been really nice just to give yourself a little bit of that HP. But yeah, anyways, carry in the skies. And that's it for the Tomb King's army. For the Dark Elves, the front line of Black Aquaseers, second line of Dark Shards. Black Aquaseers definitely designed to kill off the enemy chaff, but against Capra Guard they might struggle a bit, since Capra Guard are anti-infantry, self-regenerating, and has elite melee stats and pretty good weapon strength too. Dark Shards definitely there to snipe out those constructs. Koa Knights hiding in the forest, ready to unleash an ambush alongside the Dark Riders upon the enemy backline. More Koa Knights over here, and Malus Dark Blade supported by Sorceress of Fire in the forest as well. Yeah, that is it for the army builds. We are just gonna fast forward a bit as the Ushaptis are absolutely bombarding those poor Dark Shards, who needs to rush up as soon as possible and start getting those damage onto the enemy Ushaptis. Ushaptis can definitely afford to just pull back a bit away from the range of the Dark Shards, because Ushaptis significantly outranges Dark Shards. They can definitely just stay out of the enemy range and just shoot at them instead of trying to trade fire. But right now, Skeleton Horsemen revealed themselves from the tree line and jumped right onto the Dark Shards with the Osirian's Incantation of Vengeance here, working down their HP. Cold One Cavalry has emerged from the tree line as well, but they're running straight into skeletons. Oh no, they're gonna be a bit stuck here. They are in the column formation, so they're plowing through with enough mass punching straight through. But oh no, now the skeletons are standing up and they're kind of stuck in melee. A little bit of a mistake. Definitely could have just walked those Cold One Cavalry around and get to the Ushaptis, but never mind. There are more Cold One Cavalry coming in, and Dark Riders are also moving into position for a rear charge, perhaps. But yeah, right now, Dark Shards are being dealt with, but same goes for the Ushaptis. Both sides have their armor-piercing fire compromised right now. Something needs to be done about these Koan Knights, so they need to move out of there instead of standing in the middle of a bunch of skeleton warriors. They're just gonna take a lot of attrition damage. Let's see, where are the single entities? Wait, hold on. Where's the Sphinx of Uska? Oh wait, no, there. Fending off those Koan cavalry, I guess, alongside with some skeleton warriors, but it's too late for those Shaptis now. They are fading away, crumbling slowly into dust again. And now the Dark Shards, despite taking damage, they indeed came back. There are no Tomb King's mobility to chase them down. The Carrions are too busy hunting down the Dark Riders. They probably shouldn't have done that. Probably should have just focused on hunting down the Dark Shards with shields, making sure they don't come back with armor-piercing fire to threaten Cetra and the Sphinx of Uska. And yeah, the Chosen of the Gods needs to get out of there as well, just to start pummeling those Dark Shards with firepower once again. But yeah, it's a bit of a mess right now. Very pitch engagement. The Koan Cavalry who have stuck in Skeleton Warriors are still stuck in Skeleton Warriors. And Koan Knights are trying to surround and beat down Cetra the Imperishable, who has moved up a little bit ahead of himself. A little too close to the Dark Shards, and he's now getting pin-cushioned by a lot of armor-piercing fire. And he's going to go down, leaving only the Sphinx of Uskav on the field. And yeah, those Carrions definitely should have committed straight on to just focusing on them on the Dark Shards instead of trying to chase the Dark Riders. Because your stuff over here, everything can fight off Dark Riders. The problem is the Dark Shards here that can kill off your expensive constructs. Like it is very important to identify threats and prioritize them well in the battle. Just like right now, maybe the more expensive targets are the Koan Cavalry and Malice, but the problem is that there is no good way. How do I put it? But the problem is that you can fight them in melee. You can't outshoot the Dark Shards unless you're using the Ushaptis. And once the Ushaptis are compromised, you need to just really focus down those Dark Shards with the Carrions, with the Skeleton Cavalry and whatnot. Because right now, with only one Sphinx of Uskav trying to carry the game. Ooh, Malice Darkblade still haven't transformed into Zarkat, hasn't been routed though, but he probably can come back. While the Dark Shards continues to just whittle down the Sphinx of Uskav from afar. And with those Sphinx of Uskav, there's no way 2 units of a skeleton can bring this one back. So that was a rather quick battle. Dark Shards have carried the game, shooting down multiple constructs, and earned back quite a good chunk of their value in the process. And of course, Koan Cavalry, being a very cost-efficient anti-large armor-piercing cavalry, managed to surround and beat down Cetra with the help of Malice Darkblade. Didn't even need to transform into Darken and still managed to take this win for the Dark Elves. But yeah, Ushapti did some pretty good damage to the Dark Shards, but definitely a bit of a mistake to not deploy those skeletons a little bit forward ahead, just to keep the Dark Elves at bay and just keep the Dark Shards from advancing close enough to start shooting at your Ushaptis. I think it's probably a bit of a painful one for the Tomb Kings. But yeah, Blackrock Corsairs had no issue cleaning up the enemy skeletons. It's the constructs and the elite Kepler Guard that was the problem. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Do we have the finals bracket yet? Or because yeah, if possible, it would be fun to get some live battles going with the finals, but we shall see. Still having one more bracket going on. Okay, not sure what happening there. Anarian versus Milky Way on River Amaxon with Beastman versus Chaos Dwarves. Interesting. Anarian with Beastman once again, this time with a lot of Harpies, 4 Razor Gores, and 2 Great Weapon Minos, 2 Senegals with throwing axes, and a front line of Angor Herds, 2 Angor Raiders, and Malagor the Dark Omen there, definitely with a Flock of Doom to drain down the Chaos Dwarf infantry. But Milky Way, a front line of Cutthroats, 4 units of Sneaky Gits, 4 Chaos Dwarf Warriors guarding 1 Hell Cannon with 2 Great Weapon Bull Center Renders, providing some anti-large mobility there. So a pretty layered box, relying solely on the Soul of Damnation, Regiment of Renown, Hell Cannon to do all the damage. It also has the Soul Devourer to get extra reload speed, but I think it's mostly just Regiment of Renown having increased accuracy and reload. That is the main thing here, I guess. But yeah, anyways, Sneaky gets Cutthroats scattered across the battlefield. Sneaky gets actually, but also being caught out of position, like these Sneaky gets in the front line. But of course, they are just dumped right onto the Angkor Spearman herd and manage to cut through them with their anti-infantry attacks. But the problem is Angkor Raiders are nearby and just crossfired them down, so that is not great for them. Cutthroats will be holding the line against the weakened down Angkor herds due to the fire support from the Hell Cannon. Harpies moving in position ready to dive into the rear, I suppose. There is a lack of protection on these on this Hell Cannon. If the Bull Surrenders don't come back, yep, at least there's one Bull Surrender nearby ready to provide some melee support. These Bull Surrenders are moving over, probably trying to get a fight against the Razor Gore herds and Harpies, but the Razor Gore herd Senegals are very smart and they decide to back the hell out of there for now. Alright, Soul of Damnation, what are you firing at next? Just trying to break down the enemy infantry there. It has already broken some Angkor Raiders from afar. Though the Razor Gores are getting a nice charge onto the lightly armored Hobgoblins there, and they're taking quite a bit of damage on impact. Hobgoblin Cutthroats, not exactly a tankiest unit anyway, so kind of expected about them. Soul of Damnation continues to bombard. Maybe it wants to start shooting at the mobility. Yeah, it might be a good bet to try and get a couple hits onto the Senegals for sure, because there's a lack of units against those skirmishing cavalry on the Killswolf side there. Most of their units are just melee infantry or the rest are just infantry units with limited range and limited ammo, so not exactly the tools you want against skirmishing cavalry. At least the Sneaky Gits have anti-infantry bonus that can help them kill off these Angkor Spears, I guess. But yeah, oh no, Bull Surrenders trying to catch those enemy mobility, but they themselves advancing out of the support of their own troops, getting isolated and pushed off the map by the charge of the Minotools, which is not great. Yeah, and Soul of Damnation is still continues to bombard enemy formation. But yeah, things are not looking great for the mobility department of the Killswolf army here. There's only one Bull Surrenders remaining, and they might be over advancing here. They might be overextending, as the Razor herds can now try to pin them down while the Angkor Raiders and throwing axes can turn around and shoot them to pieces. Oh, that is not great. But yeah, we're gonna fast forward here. Harpies diving onto the ground for some reason, not onto the Soul of Damnation, and are getting worked down in melee. But yeah, Soul of Damnation continues to fire and bombard enemy infantry, but probably want to start shooting at the enemy monsters and cavalry. Throwing axes are being chucked onto the Sorcerer Prophet. Hobgoblin Cutthroats charged by Razor Gores and taking quite a bit of damage. Now the Hobgoblin Cutthroat, now the Razor Gores charging straight through these Chaos Dwarf warriors, using their massive pull through, and now surrounding and beating down the Soul of Damnation, finally silencing this rather expensive piece of artillery, which didn't really earn that much value because it has just been shooting and blasting enemy only blasting enemy chaff infantry so far. And yeah, as I expected, the Bull Surrenders, who have overextended and crossfired by throwing axes and archers, did not end up having a good time, and it has been worked down. Quite unfortunate for the Killswolf player there. The artillery is shut down. Their Bull Surrenders are gone as well. The infantry are slowly being picked apart by the Minos, with nothing to stop these monsters of the Beastmen, and that shall be GG, I think. Yeah, that was just that was quite unfortunate there. Not I don't know. I think it's just mostly the Beastman player, unfortunately, overextending with a lot of units and leaving a lot of them unsupported. And as a result, they just got picked apart by the Beastmen with a superior mobility, having multiple units overwhelming like a single Bull Surrender or overwhelming single Cutthroats here or there. which is unfortunately not great for the kill stoves. And without the artillery and the bull center renders, there's no way the kill stove can do enough damage to the Minos and Razor Guards and take them down. While the Razor Guards getting a lot of good value, same goes for the Minos as well, carrying the game. Oh, and the throwing axes from the Sandigos as well. Alright. Wait, that's a Siege versus Vampire counts. Alright, that might be the fast one that Malo Morgan talked about. Let's jump in and see. Oh wait, we might have the top 4 ready already, so we might possibly move on to some live battles, if possible. Anyways, let's just check the army builds over here first, since this might be the fast battle. Counts as fast, counts as... What? 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 What do you mean, described by Spotify? Oh, you have top 4 already. Coast was... Anyways, any of the top 4... Any of the top 4 has like a live lobby with a spectator slot, that would be great. I can hop in and cast the battles live. Oh no, this game was not fun though. Alright, so army builds, we're in slow motion, so we're not really worried about things moving in too fast. Now for the siege army, a front line of Zangors, just a ton of Zangors blobbing in the trees, and the 7th Claw, which is very good against the Vampire counts. They're elite, they're heavy armored, and with anti-large, so they can take down monsters, grind through infantry and whatnot. Knights of Immolation to drop some fiery poop, and leading the army is a Chaos Lord of Siege with anti-large armor piercing. Shrieking Skyrays providing even more anti-large armor piercing. Chaos Sorcerer of Siege with Siege magic. Pink fire, blue fire, very standard stuff, and Soul Grinder to kite the Vampire coast. Oh, this is coast, not counts. Never mind. This is a long game. Wait, hold on. I might need to jump over. I might not cast it yet because hold on. This is a long game. I'm gonna quit this one in case. Yeah, this is a coast. This is not counts. I'm gonna quit this one in case there is like a lobby available in the top 4 bracket. Because we're already at the top 4, right? So, yeah, I'm just gonna play this one instead. Siege versus Counts, which is supposed to be the fast one. Coast was long. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna do this. Mellow Morgan versus Sniper. Mellow Morgan with, the A-code is in there, huh? With Exalted Hero of Siege, anti-large armor piercing, and I assume that's a Sorcerer Lord. 3 blue horrors, 2 spears, marauders, 1 Zangors, and 1 pink horror for a little bit of fire support. Probably would be worth bringing a Sour Guts if possible. But anyways, Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Siege with metal magic, with Final Transmutation, Searing Doom, and sort of change for the Chaos Spawn summon. And I assume this this War Shrine is just there to try and generate some magic. Yeah, this Chaos War Shrine, just trying to generate some magic with undead and horrors dying around him. Anyways, for the undead, a front line of zombies, spears, and yeah, skeletons. Mostly skeletons and zombies mixed in together. A couple of necromancers to provide some regeneration, and unholy lodestone, vigor mortis, and different sorts of buffs, and also forbidden rod and bound zombie summon, I guess. Claw of Nagash Mortis Engine to drain enemies down, but the problem is that you're fighting against Siege. Why are you bringing Mortis Engine? You're gonna get shot the shit out of you. Oh no, oh no. Especially when there's a Soul Grinder. It's just gonna shoot it from like 100 miles away. Well, at least it's targeting the Necromancer for now. But yeah, a couple Var guys and Black Knights. Leading the army is a Von Karstein Vampire Lord with the Storm of the Night. Basically an undead version of a Tempest. No Winds of Magic, but limited cast and limited damage. Invocation of the Hack and Flock of Doom. Oh wait, Flock of Doom! Oh no! This blob is gonna get drained. Oh no! But I'm gonna fast forward a bit over here. Yeah, okay. Alright. Var guy's moving close and got absolutely lit up. Same goes for the Necromancer getting sniped from afar by blue horrors. Oh shit, getting so absolutely lit up by all the blue horror fire and Soul Grinder. But the skeletons are still marching on, so that's good. What is it? Thorns Aura from Echo. They're giving everything melee reflection, but I don't think that's an important thing right now. And Black Knight's collapsing, hammering into the blue horrors, but the blue horrors will hold on for now. Are there? It would be a nice time to drop a Flock of Doom here, unless I already missed an earlier Flock of Doom. Wait, what? Oh, they dropped. Never mind. That was okay. All right, that was just disappointing. I thought that would have been. I guess they just have to. They just dropped. Okay, never mind. That was a fast one. Yeah, that's. I probably would have skipped this then. Never mind. Yeah. Oh, I think they mentioned that it dropped at some point. Okay, my bad. I may have missed out on one of the messages about the game was dropped or something. Yeah, I'll jump in and 5 hour recycle, reuse, whatever it's what? Anyways, reduce or something. 12-4 announced. Yep, thank you. And I'm in one of the top 4's lobby, I think. But yeah, obviously I can't be in both lobbies at the same time, so I can only cast one of the top 4's semifinals live. The other will have to wait till I'm done with the 20. Alright, anyways, we have Beluga playing as Slanesh with Vampire Coast from Unlucky Spotify. We shall see what happened with these two. We are on Gorgazon, so it is flat map and definitely viable for an artillery build. But of course, we're playing again, like we're seeing a player against Slanesh. And personally, if I'm playing against Slanesh, I would not bring any missile or missile infantry or artillery, just because the Slanesh army with the rampaging, the aerial units, the Furies to be specific, and all the mobility spam, I have absolutely no confidence in keeping those missile assets alive and long enough to do the damage. And maybe I'll bring bombers, but that's the most I would take in this matchup. I guess bomber bats and then spam fell bats with a Terra guys might work maybe, and then just bring a box of freaking death gods and crabs maybe. I don't know, but we shall see what happens here. When I was talking about the builds, I did not consider anything about the actual picks of the players here. I was not even looking at the game picks, but yeah. Anyways, Beluga strong today. Yeah, it seems like Beluga did have a very strong performance with his Slanesh army and all the games we've seen him played in so far. Now, can he keep up this trend all the way till the finals? We shall see. Or will Unlucky Spotify stop his 3 a.m. here down under? God damn it. Oh, go to sleep or something, man. It's 3 a.m. I mean, it's a weekend, to be fair. So, and I slept at like 4 last night, so I can't really say much against that. But yeah, it's probably you want to go to bed soon. But yeah, this stream would go on for another hour or so with all the live replays and non-live replays as well. We have quite a few replay files to go through so far. So yeah, it's gonna go on for a while. You're probably gonna stay up till 4 or 5. Sorry, just gonna reply to someone on the tournament channel. Give me a second. Alright, we have loaded in, so I'm just gonna unblock the screen. Alright. We are ready. Never go to bed. Yeah, right. That is a problem with living around Asia Pacific time zone. Because I used to live in Hong Kong, and the whole reason I wanted to start a channel is because all the tournaments are in UK, are in European time or American time. And being in Asia Pacific time, either it's early in the morning or late at night, so I can't play in any of those 20s unless I stay up late and just kind of like dying from lack of sleep, or wake up early and also dying from lack of sleep to play them. So as a result, I was like, you know what, if I can't play in your thing, I'm just gonna make my own thing and play it. And yeah, I mean, yeah. But now I'm in the UK, so yeah, I'm one of the UK time zone crowd, unfortunately. Not in Hong Kong now. No. I'm in the UK currently, so there's that. Yeah. So I'm following the European time zones now. Yeah. I mean, it makes it easier for me to join other people's tournaments, but of course, unfortunately, no more streamers on the Asia Pacific time zone to host stuff. So, yeah, that's a bit of a pity. But anyways, army builds here. Beluga going with Slanesh here, a front line of Marauders, flanked by Forsaken once again. A ton of mobility in the form of Health Striders and Seekers of Slanesh, with in the skies Chaos Furies. Leading the army is a Herald of Slanesh with Pavane and Acquiescence. Very standard stuff there, though not bringing a Zazone, just a Footlord. Makes sense, actually. Makes sense against Vampire Coast. Alright, Vampire Coast there with oh shit, is that Queen Bess? I would not bring artillery against Vampire against Slanesh but then over here, Unlucky Spotify be like, yeah, I'm just gonna bring the chunkiest artillery of them all. Yeah, I guess I just need more firepower, I guess. And just trying to blast everything down with Queen Bess. Anyways, it's gonna form a box of zombie pirate deck and mobs, and guarded by Death Gods and Shade Rape Gunners. A little bit more firepower, so a lot of firepower. But I don't know if they have the time to use it all up, because that's a lot of mobility ready to jump onto your backline there. I don't feel well in. Oh man, I'm already very worried about the Vampire Coast. I mean, I support Vampire Coast solely because they have Queen Bess online, but yeah, I don't know. Also, there's a really easy way to dodge Queen Bess. As soon as you see it shoots, you can stop the unit that it was targeting it, and then it just kind of misses. And of course, you can change the direction of their movement. And then Queen Bess projectile is very slow, so it's quite rough. Quite easy to dodge. You can see it slowly dropping in, but of course this time it smacked right in the center. But unlike the Dreadquake Mortar, it does not have the Dreadquake effect, and it doesn't actually do any damage afterwards, after the projectile lands. Anyway, Shade Rape Gunners and Queen Bess are already doing some pretty decent work, but yeah, it's not doing a whole lot of damage so far. Pavane onto the Shade Rape Gunners, that's going to be a really good target. Direct damage by passing their physical resistance, and on top of that, stopping them shooting, luring them into melee. And on the side, oh, Scurvy Dogs just got annihilated by the Seekers and the Health Riders. That is not great. The ghosts are out though. They're trying to counteract and drive off the enemy Health Riders and Seekers. A little bit premature with the summon, I believe. Probably you want the Seekers and Health Riders to commit and then summon the Ghost Riders right behind them and just recharge them and keep them pinned. That probably would have been a better use of the unit. But yeah, Fury summons, Fury's dropping in, and all the Seekers and Health Riders coming in. Yeah, the box is open. Queen Bess has not made much value so far. Trap summons are being dropped in the backline as well, just to keep the box intact. The Damn Knight's Errant did some pretty good damage, killed off the Hell Striders, I guess. But yeah, they want to be like if the Damn Knight's Errant are summoned right here and jumped right onto the Seekers of Slanesh, it would be huge just to keep them in the fight and keep grinding them down and using that magic damage to wreck those demons as well. But we shall see what happens here. Things are still looking fairly even. Queen Bess is probably gone at this point. All the artillery crew is severely damaged, and there's just not a lot of good targets for it to shoot right now. Even if it went back online, because everything else is just kind of inundated in melee. Ooh, one of the Death Guards are killed. Oh no, they're still duking it out with Forsaken on the side, so that was fine. They're holding on with the hunger healing them up, keeping them alive while they themselves punching down the enemy targets. But yeah, I'm quite worried about the Vampire Coast right now. They are keeping the balance of power up by dropping in crab summons here and there. So yeah, every time they're definitely making the Slanesh army pay. But the Seekers are still very much healthy. All three of them are intact and almost full health at this point. While the meat of the Vampire Coast army, the summons are gone. No more summons from Salas or Diaphin. Probably she can only really use the. She only has Kraken's pull, and it takes forever to cast. And the Seekers have more than enough speed to easily dodge that spell. The crabs are gonna be gone soon. Half a minute more, and then they won't be around any longer. Kraken's pull onto a preemptive cast onto the Seekers, but most of the unit has charged past the spell casting zone. But some of them are still getting pulled into the spell casting, taking some damage. But now they're just moving out of the way and mitigating damage that way. So a lot of Winds of Magic use, but not a whole lot of impact on the battlefield. At least the Furies are getting annihilated and dragged down by Salos or Diaphin, I guess. But yeah, the Death Guards are getting rear charged by the Seekers, taking massive hammering damage from the Hammer and Anvil. Salosha is now alone, fighting all alone against all these infantry and armor-piercing cavalry as well, dropping that Song of Enthrallment, which is nice to reduce enemy speed and melee attack. The problem is, there's nothing to catch all these Seekers. The only way to really take them down is to try, hopefully, drag them down in melee combat. But yeah, casting that Damn Knight's Errant that early I think was a bit of a mistake there. They dragged down a Hell Strider, but they could have done a lot more if they were summoned right behind the Seekers and trapped them in a melee fight and just shut them down. But right now the Seekers are free to roam around, cycle charge, and break down the enemy units by those devastating flanker charges. Yeah, they're just gonna devastating flanker Salosha and watch. Oh, Salosha. Right, Salosha does have the immune to flanking thing. It takes no penalties, but that doesn't mean the extra charge bonus won't come in for the Seekers though. So there's that. She still takes damage, just that she has the full melee defense on all sides with the crab. But yeah, it's not great for her right now. All the cycle charging, all the extra armor piercing charge bonus is slowly whittling her down, and I think that's gonna be GG, and that will be victory for Slanesh. Very nicely done by Beluga with the Slanesh army picks here. Yeah, oh, there was one final Hail Mary Kraken's pull, but that was not enough. She goes down before she was even able to finish the spell. And yeah, Silas Radarfin and the Death Guards did most of the heavy lifting, but again, against Slanesh, bringing missiles, specifically bringing missile infantry and artillery, I feel like it's a massive waste. They're too fast. They're just too fast, and mobility are too good for you to like keep those missiles safe to shoot. And yeah, they're just gonna get overwhelmed and die in front of all those mobility. While the Slanesh army here, yeah, most of the damage was done by the Seekers, and the Pavane was good against the Shade Wraith Gunner as well, just shutting them down and dragging them into melee where they would rather not be in, and the mobility getting a lot of work done. And the Furies also got some decent valor by just swarming the poor Queen Bess. I would love seeing Queen Bess normally, but this is definitely not the occasion to bring that expensive artillery to the field. GG to both players, and yeah, I think it's gonna be the finals now, right? Yep, it is going to be Beluga versus Hyung Yim. That is wait, who's Hyung Yim and Hyung Yim and on the server? It's a Korean player. Alright, we've got the semifinals. Oh, well, spoiler alert. We all know who won the semifinals then. But yeah, anyways, it doesn't matter. Alright, I think that is all the replays now. Yeah, I think that's all the replays on the channel. I'm just gonna wait for the players. Alright. Just gonna wait for the players to set up their spectator slot so I can hop in. So yeah, give me a second there, but yeah, let's see, how many replays do we have today? We have quite a few. 10 more replays? Yeah, 10 more replays. Hopefully we can finish it before yeah, before 10 in the UK here. Because I don't want to like stop. Yeah. Because I need to wake up early tomorrow and I can't stay up too late. But yeah, let's see. The troll range unit was not the play. Yeah, it was not. I love Queen Bess for its design, the ridiculousness of this oversized undead artillery. But as much as I love it, it's just not the way. It's just not something you want against Slanesh. Don't do Vampire Counts versus Dark Elves. Why? Why? I like being up at this time on weekends. Usually up anyway, catching up with friends, drinking beers. Fair dues. Fair dues. Oh, we have another replay just came in. But at the same time, we need to go and join the lobby. So give me a second there while I go and download some replays. What? Is it not the good old... Oh no! It is slightly different. It's a slightly different password. Okay, we are in. We have the power. Alright. Beluga versus... Oh, Frost is the player. Okay, Frost. Beluga versus Frost, Slanesh versus Siege. But yeah, Dark Horse, why do you not want Humboldt micro groupings bad? Okay, fine. I'll delete that later. Siege makes it to the finals. I take it. Fair. I guess you are indeed. It is the mighty plans of not mighty, but cunning plans of Siege. I guess the meticulous plans of Siege. Having multiple champions in the same tourney, and eventually one will make it through. But yeah, this is the finals of today's tourney. We are still gonna be casting replays after this, of course, but this is the final live. I mean, the second and also final live casting for today's tournament. Beluga versus Frost, Slanesh versus Tinge. Yeah, we shall see what happens here. Tinge definitely having a lot of missile assets, but again, as I just repeated earlier, I don't really... Personally, I would hate bringing missiles against against Slanesh with all the mobility assets on the field, so I am quite worried. What can Frost bring to counteract all those Slanesh mobility? We shall see. And what will Slanesh be doing here to take on Siege? Because, of course, like, Siege usually are mostly reliant on missile spams, right? But they also have the ability to make like a halberd box of fucking Chosens and just like bring a bunch of Chosen, Savage Claw, and then you have like an almost unbreakable box of halberds, ready to just cut things down in melee. So it might be interesting to see what happens here, but yeah, we shall see, we shall see. But yeah, we shall see. Alright, looks like Slanesh of Beluga is ready. We just need to wait for Frost to... Ooh, 0 gold left over from Slanesh's side. It is the perfect army. Oh, Frost still haven't... Okay. He just reset his entire army. Okay. We will have to wait a bit then, I guess. We shall see. Alright, that is done. Both sides are ready. Slanesh has too many threats he needs to counter or he auto loses. Depending if Tinge picks them. I don't think Tinge here, actually, I do like this choice of bringing the shit, what is it called again? Monolith? Shit. Shit. Monolith B. What? Fuck. What's the name of the thing again? But yeah. Shit. What is? I haven't seen that. Haven't seen that monster in a while. I kind of forgot her name. Fuck. Ace in the Fallen. But like, what's the name of the actual unit? I crashed in my last game. I could have made it to Semi. No, Ladero. So close. That thing is not gonna pay for half of its cost. Mutilate Vortex Beast, yes! That is. I was like, Monolith? No, it doesn't sound like a monolith. It shouldn't be Monolith. But yeah, Mutilate Vortex Beast, yes, you're right. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, Ace in the Fallen, Mutilate Vortex Beast, but I think it's an interesting choice because not only it has the usual Mortis engine, in fact, that's not the main thing here, but it has kind of a mini Fate of Buna that kind of spreads. It's a chain hack, so it spreads to nearby units. It's kind of like a mini Fate of Buna that can maybe target 2-3 units at once. So if they can catch like a blob of Seekers and drop that spell onto those Seekers, that could have been huge and just strip away a ton of their HP and get a ton of value. To be fair, it is one of the threats he has to counter, but I think Chaos Chariot is better than Eisen. I think Eisen the Fallen is probably a better choice here because Slanesh doesn't have a lot of good tools against single entity monster outside of the Javelin Marauders, which, oh well, there are 4 of those here today, so it's going to be an interesting fight on both sides, but we shall see what happens here. A front line of Forsaken and multiple Seekers. Again, if these guys blob up against Azen the Fallen and got hit by that chain hacks, yeah, Maelstrom of Change, 125 to 250 damage per second, and great strong versus multiple units. If it hits multiple of these Seekers, it can accrue some pretty good value. Like it has a 7-second duration, so minimum it can do. Wait, hold on. So 25 times 7. It's 175. So it minimum does 825 Yeah, 825 damage? No. 725 damage? Yeah, no, hold on. 825 damage? No, fuck. Hold. Yeah, shit. We're in the triple digits arithmetics. 875 damage, to 1,700 damage. So it can do quite a bit, put quite a bit of dent on these rather flimsy Seekers, who rely a lot on that physical resistance to protect them, and doesn't have the most HP in terms of mobility. Like, if they can screen off the javelins with the blue horrors and then, oh wait, no, why are you sending the blue horrors in front? Send those Chaos Warriors with halberds to the front and to contest with the Forsaken, perhaps. Let the blue horrors deal with the javelins, maybe. But yeah, anyways, point is, Azen the Fallen with the Maelstrom of Change can definitely put a dent on all those Seekers if they just get the target right. Anyways, pink horrors are turning around. For the Siege army, just a blue horrors, halberd warriors, pink horrors in the center, and Azen the Fallen as well as Saphrael the Ever Watcher. And the pink horrors are counterfiring the enemy javelins, which is nice, just keeping them at bay. Though the Forsaken are coming in, getting smashed up by Azen the Fallen though. Oh, Pavane of Slanesh onto one of the pink horrors, forcing them to engage in melee. But one of the Forsaken is getting smashed, which is good news for team for sure. The box is holding. For now, only for now though. And Azen the Fallen is doing the draining damage. Disorientated, in fact, as well, lowering enemy melee stats. While the halberds are just standing by and ready to just block off enemy targets. Block off enemy charges. Oh, here comes the Maelstrom of Change, hitting one of the Seekers, spreading to nearby units, I think. Yeah, hitting the Forsaken nearby as well. Doing some okay damage. And also a final transmutation from Saphrael the Ever Watcher. Hitting Azazel in the face. Now the Seekers are coming in to surround. Oh no! Saphrael the Ever Watcher, you're not supposed to be in there. But a very nice engagement from Azen the Fallen and final transmutation, nuking Azazel down to half health. Rock of Inevitability also slowing him down and dropping his melee defenses. And Saphrael quickly rushing into the middle of the blue horrors, trying to find some refuge from his own infantry. Though that means his infantry is getting sacrificed to the enemy mobility. Anyways, the halberds are going to be holding the back line there, just guarding the back. All the missiles are dead. Oh no, that is a problem. There's no more counter against the enemy skirmishers, who can now freely just shoot down poor Azen the Fallen. Oh, this is rough. This is going to be rough. But Azen the Fallen is doing a lot of damage to the Seekers, which is good news. Saphrael, what are you doing? Drop down on the ground. Stop staying in the skies. Alright, cool. Yeah, there you go. And Azen the Fallen continues to fight and drain... like, just keep Mortis engineering stuff down around him, I suppose. Now Azen the Fallen jumps back in and give a good smack on the Seekers. Is there another Maelstrom of Change coming in soon? Probably the best bet of team to kill all the Seekers. But right now, I guess they just want to snipe out Azazel, who is a bit stuck in this kind of block fight now. Seekers are flooding in. Oh, this might be the time where you need that Maelstrom of Change, but it has a long cooldown of 120 seconds, I think. Oh no, 60 seconds. Wait, there's still one more use. I guess he already used it earlier. Maybe no. You probably used one. There are 3 uses if I remember correctly, right? So it must have been used earlier. Anyways, another Pavane just to keep Saphrael in the fight and denying him from casting spells, while the Seekers are picking apart the poor Chaos Warriors with halberds and the javelins. They are now pouring in fire onto Azen the Fallen, who doesn't have... oh, he has missile resistance and 70 armor. But again, these are javelins, Marauder Horsemen, so they have decent enough armor piercing, a 7 per shot, and putting a dent on both Saphrael and the Azen the Fallen as well. Maelstrom will change onto another unit of Seekers, but they're not close to any other units nearby. So the damage is only limited to 1 unit. And unfortunately was not able to maximize the damage there. Another final transmutation from Saphrael. Is that an overcast? Yes, it's an upgraded version. Quickly draining away Azazel's HP, and that might be key. Maybe it can take down Azazel. He's not having the most HP left right now. 7 more seconds, 6 more seconds on the spell. And oh shit! Just got knocked out of the sky by a fucking bolt of change. Oh god. That was a brutal hit. Just Sephiroth really fucking wants Azazel dead. That was a beautiful hit though. And Azazel is down. Balance of power is in favor of the Siege army now because they still have their lord alive, but not for long. The javelins are going to make sure they finish off. Sephiroth. But that unfortunately for the Slaanesh army, Ace in the Fallen is still very much healthy, and I mean half health, I guess, not that healthy, but yeah, very much having that balance of power held up with quite a bit of HP left, 3000 HP and a lot of leadership. I mean, Sephiroth dying, it definitely puts a damper on things, but yeah, with the Halberd Warrior still holding and they're coming over to capture the point now, yeah, this might be a bit rough for the Slaanesh army to take this one back. He dropped on the Furies. Scene doesn't have expiring except 7 4. Yeah, it doesn't. But yeah. So yeah, oh shit. Ace in the Fallen is taken out by the torrent of javelins, and things suddenly flips around because of the javelins, putting quite a bit of damage done against Ace in the Fallen. Now the Seekers just have to chase it down and kill it. But the Halberd Warriors are just gonna hold the line now, I guess. Wait, ironically, the Aura of Mutation is still effective right now. Oh, no, not anymore when the Mutative Vortex Beast goes down. Watch it getting dragged back into the warp there. And now with the Ace of the Fallen down, that means the Halberd Warriors are just sitting there to be charged at from multiple fronts of the enemy. Now with with multiple angles charges from all the Murder Horsemen, the Chaos Warriors of Siege are wavering in leadership. Their lord is dead. Their monsters are dead. They are being charged from multiple sides. Rear charge, flanking charge, surrounded on all fronts. One unit goes down and the other might actually gets chain routed as well. They're putting up a good fight, just beating down all the horsemen in melee and just cutting them down with their anti-lodge statuses. But yeah, one of them went down, which is a big loss. They still have a lot of fight left in them with 2000 HP and 40 models left. But they're just gonna get routed. Oh, Narcissism, pinning them down, silencing them. Silencing isn't a problem. Narcissism mostly just keeping them tied down, unable to move around. But yeah, they're still like trying to put up a fight and just whacking whatever running into their face. But yeah, their friends, their comrades, are now being hunted down and chased down by one free unit of very healthy Marauder Horsemen. The other unit is still standing their ground, doing whatever damage they can, but their leadership is dropping. Oh, never mind. The Marauder Horsemen are routed, and that might lead to a chain route from another Marauder Horseman as well. But no, the very much healthy Marauder Horsemen are returning to reinforce. And unfortunately, the Halberd Warrior is so close, but yet so far, they have been taken down as well with army losses hitting them. Very nice battle. Aura of Mutation damages Mutaliv itself, by the way. What the fuck? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. That might be a bug, actually, but it sounds as counterintuitive as Omen of Azurian not being able to benefit from his own aura. High level new players. Yeah, but yeah, it's still a very cool battle. I think when you win the new player tournament, you can't play in it anymore. I think that's a rule. I mean, it might not be the rules here. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, very well played from both players. But yeah, not being able to counteract the enemy javelins here. Perhaps what Siege needed was probably Kairos Fate Weaver. Was maybe Kairos Fate Weaver with the Gaze of Fate. Malawar again, Asen cost 2.6k. I don't know a scenario where he pays off. Well, he paid off this time, I think. So it was fine. It was fine. Yeah, as I said, like Ace in the Fallen with the Mini Mortis engine. Actually, like the Mini Mortis engine, no, the Pseudo Mortis engine and the Mini Fate of Buna actually isn't that bad against expensive and fragile units like Seekers. And it's also a large single entity, right? And Slaanesh usually struggle against those. Unless, of course, there are javelins in play, and then they just shoot them with javelins. But even then, I mean, yeah, the Ace in the Fallen still managed to do some pretty good work. Like, if Frost managed to repel those Murder Horsemen a little bit better. Maybe like keep the Chaos Warriors in front to deal with the enemy Forsaken. Keep the Blue Horse at the back to fend off the Marauders. That probably would have been a better play in this scenario here. Like, the Blue Horse might get charged by Seekers and whatnot, but there are only 3 Seekers, but 2 Pink Horrors, 4 Blue Horrors, and you still have the Ace and the Fallen ready to fend off the enemy mobility, right? So there's a lot of options for you to counteract those Seekers and Furies. And of course, a Final Transmutation from Saphira and whatnot, but yeah, it probably would have ended better that way, especially like if the Javelins try to close in to shoot at Saphira, or the Ace and the Fallen, the Blue Horse can fire back and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like, yeah, the Blue Horse, especially Blue Horse without armor, they're gonna die really fast to Forsaken. I'll probably put the Blue Horse at the back for the Chaos Warriors in the front. The Chaos Warriors can bear the brunt of the Forsaken charge, while the Blue Horse will be at the back here, either get charged by Seekers and so that the Ace and the Fallen can launch a counter offensive, or they can just shoot the hell out of any Murder Horseman that tries to get close, and also keep those Blue Horse and Pink Horse alive long enough till the late game and counteract some Murder Horsemen as well. But yeah, very nicely played from both players, from both Beluga and Frost there. And congratulations to Beluga for winning in this tournament. Very nicely played with all the Slaanesh games. Like the control on the units are very impressive and very patient. Yeah. Very nicely executed with the high-speed tactics of Slaanesh. And yeah, GG to Frost as well. Very well done with Ace and the Fallen there. Haven't seen this unit for quite a while. That is going to be the end for the live casting section. We are moving on to replay casting, so hang on and stay tuned on the channel. I'm going to quickly refill my water bottle, and then we can move into the replay section. But yeah, GG to everyone here, and yep, give me a second. Let me just get some water. So get a bowl of water, and yeah. We are gonna move on to replace. I'm in the UK, so obligatory UK accent, you know. I think the Lord of Metal was not the best choice in this matchup. Yeah, I feel like again, I feel like you probably. Oh yeah, Lord of you don't have Lord of Death as Slaanesh. You might yeah, you don't have Lord of Death as a team, so you might still want Lord of Metal here actually, or. Alternatively, you can bring Kairos just because you can spam blue fire and use Gate of Fate to lock down those Seekers and keep them pinned down so you can follow up with ranged troops. But anyways, let me just quickly refill my water bottle and I'll be back in a minute. Yep, let me just put that one up and then yeah, I'll be back in a few minutes. Just quickly grab some water because my throat is dry and cracking. Alright, I'm back, and let's get this show on the road. Okay, alright. First up, we have Tinge versus Vampire Coast. This is gonna be a long one according to the players. And, yeah. We shall see. Mellow Morgan playing with 5 Zangors, the Severed Claw, Knights of Immolation, Shrieking Skyrays, and a Soul Grinder with the long range firepower. Plus, Sorcerer of Tinge with Tinge Magic, Blue Fire, and Pink Fire, I believe. As well as the Chaos Lord of Tinge with the anti-large armor piercing. For the Vampire Coast army, an interesting army once again with quite a bit of long range firepower. A front line of deckhand mobs with more deckhand mobs sealing off the flank here with some Morghuls, the Night Terrors, providing that flanking protection with animated hulks. On the left flank, some Death God hidden in the tree line, and a lot of scurvy dogs. Are they expecting to ambush the enemy? Oh, both sides are expecting an enemy ambush. Just deploying everything they have. Not everything per se, but a good chunk of their value in the forest. Anyways, we shall see what happened here. Even a bloated corpse? Is it gonna pay back for itself? We shall see. But it is against Tinge, so a lot of the damage might just get absorbed by the Zangor Tinge barrier. That might be a problem. Fellbats in the skies, scattered across the field. Count Nautilus leading the army, and let's see how the battle goes. As it's probably gonna start with a Carinate versus Soul Grinder fight. Oh, they're targeting the Chaos Sorcerer of Tinge first? Oh no, you want to target the Soul Grinder! The Soul Grinder is gonna come over and just start blasting at your Shade Wraith Gunners. You don't want that happening. Okay, yep, they're moving on to shoot at the Soul Grinder. We're gonna fast forward a bit here. Knights of Immolation are trying to hunt down on the Fellbats, which they succeeded. The Fellbats retreated, but then they didn't receive further order, and that means they're just gonna get blasted. Oh, Blue Fire though did a lot of damage to these Shade Wraith Gunners. That was not great. Invocation of the Heck to heal them back up, so that's something. Oh, and now the double artillery are now trying to blast back, fire back at the Soul Grinder, putting a good dent on their HP bar. Fellbats are done for, so a little bit of a loss on the Vampire Coast side, but yeah, the Blue Fire spam continues, and Shade Wraith Gunners are definitely not in a good mood because of that. Overcasted, not Invocation of the Heck. Probably want to normal cast it, because if you're just healing one unit, there's no point overcasting anything. No point overcasting that spell. Yeah. Anyways, Fellbats are trying to harass the Chaos Sorcerer of Tinge, and doing some damage, but here comes the Knights of Immolation and stuff, and just trying to work down on these characters. Anyways, we're gonna move on to fast forward. Both sides are being very patient, and with a little bit of a Shade Wraith Storm bombardment doing a lot of friendly fire damage, and the single entity is just duking it out in the vicinity. The Fellbats are dead. Now the Blue Fire spam resumes, and the Shade Wraith Gunners are probably not gonna be long for this. Well, so yeah, Scurvy Dogs are moving ahead and immediately spotting a just hidden away a blob of fucking Zangor. So they're like, nope, we're out of there, and they're retreating. Shade Wraith Gunners though getting blasted. Yeah, they're not gonna be long for this. Well, I'm just gonna wait. Did the bloated corpse? The bloated corpse is still there. So yeah, they're not doing anything. But the Shade Wraith Gunners are almost dead. Soul Grinder are still juking, but the Carinate have done quite a decent damage value actually. Yeah. Now they're targeting the Knights of Immolation, trying to knock out some of these expensive flying cavalry. Knocked out one model. Just poor guy, unlucky guy, dropped off there. Oh no shit! Why are you using Wraith Storm on someone with a Tinge barrier? No, all the damage getting absorbed by the Tinge barrier. Might as well just drop it on the Soul Grinder and kill it off, man. Because now you are out of Wraith Storms, and you can't actually target anything anymore. And this small target, like you're not gonna knock him out anyways. Yeah, this small target of a Tinge caster, it's just hard to hit with missiles in general. Unfortunate, but yeah, there's no more long-range firepower for the Vampire Coast now. Zangors have moved out of the tree line, duking it out against enemy chaff, so not doing a whole lot. Wait. Oh, wait. I missed the bloated corpse? No! I, I was waiting for it to happen, but anyways, seems like a long game. Knights of Immolation jumped onto some scurvy dogs, targeting them, and then Screamers are coming in to finish them off. Yeah, and now the Vampire Coast is really on the back foot. They don't have any... They don't have the mobility advantage, and they don't have any artillery anymore. The artillery has been knocked out by the blue fire spam, and yeah, that might just be GG. I'm gonna fast forward here. Because like now the Soul Grinder can just cycle charge and maybe spend a couple more shots onto... Ooh, at least they have the monsters, but the enemy hosts overextended, charging straight into the enemy halberds, and now the Death Guards are too stuck behind to move out to help, and then Shrieking Skyrays dropping in those AoE damage. Count Noxilus, what have you been doing? Why are you all the way here? Death Guards are duking it out in there, but yeah, not doing a whole lot. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I think that is probably gonna be GG. I'm just gonna speedrun this. As the zombies are slowly marching on. Wait, shit. Is this the one? Wait, shit. Is this the one that you told me not to cast? Oh, I know. That's a game versus Dark Elves, I believe. I need to like look back up and see which. It's Dark Elves, right? Let me just check. Oh, fuck. Don't do Vampire Coast versus... Vampire Counts versus DE. Okay. I'll skip that one then. But yeah, anyways. Man, that was a bit painful. Oh, a good, decent damage from the Carrions. And, oh, yeah, the Bloodthorns didn't do anything. I think it's just a single entity dropped down and then quickly bailed because or the siege barrier blocked all the damage. So yeah, there's no Bloodthorns damage in the fray, and that was unfortunate. And yeah, too much vegetation on the field as well. So the Carronades couldn't find any other targets than the Soul Grinder and the Blue Fire Spammer, who did a ton of damage over time. Just killed off the Shade Wave Gunners with that, and also sniped out the Carronades with that long range firepower. And without the firepower, the Vampire Coast no longer has the initiative, and they also don't have the mobility advantage, and was just kind of playing very... Yeah, the battle was basically controlled by Siege after that, after losing all those Vampire Coast artillery. The Death Guards put up a fight, but yeah, Siege didn't really have to take them in the melee either. Oh, that was a Coast versus Dark Elves game. Alright, if I see that, I'll just delete that then. I'll delete that then. Alright, Wood Elves versus Siege, round 3. Ender the Lion versus Frost. Wood Elves going with a front line of not Branch Raves, Dryads with one of them, the Frozen Heart of... No, that's not the Frozen Heart of Winter. That's the... Wait, hold on. Sometimes I lose track of names of the units. Wraiths of the Frozen Heart. Yeah, I remember it's like Frozen Heart of something. But yeah, yeah. It also doesn't help that we have multiple Frozen Heart. Like we have the Frozen Heart of Winter, Frozen Heart, the Heart of Winter. You know, like multiple units that sounds about the same. And then we have the worst is like Nakai the Wanderer and Wolfric the Wanderer. They are both called Wanderer. Why do you call both of them Wanderer? What the fuck? Anyways, like, you could have just called Wolfric the Sea Fang or something. Sounds cooler anyways. But anyways, we have a Wood Elves, front line of Dryads, one of them the Wraith of the Frozen Heart. I think they're friends. No, yeah, they have Frenzy, and also they have the Chill Aura and Frostbite, so able to slow down enemy units, and also being regimented. Now, they're slightly more elite. On the flanks, there are some Eternal Gods backed up by Glade God Starfire Shaft and Swift Shiver Shot Deep Wood Scouts, Glade Riders with shields and Wild Riders, Great Riders, Spears, and Wild Riders as well. Leading the army is a Spellweaver of High Magic with Tempest and Apotheosis. Ooh, Tempest against the Lord of Chicken would be cool. Just directly trapping him in like a slow plus damaging vortex would be neat. But anyways, for the Siege army here, quite a bit of mobility as expected. Thundergores, Furies, and more Marauder Horsemen with Javelins. Similarly on the other side, just no Javelins. And a narrow front line of 3 whole Marauders. That's about it for the army build with the Exalted Lord of Change with blue and pink fire spam. Pretty standard stuff. Archers are already firing from the Wood Elf side. They're trying to get some pot shots onto the Lord of Change, Exalted Lord of Change. And those are magic damage, so they can bypass physical resistance on the enemy Lord and Demons. But I feel like the more important thing is to shut down the Marauder Horsemen. But anyways, Furies and Thundergores are diving onto the flank here, trying to shut down the enemy Swift Shiver Shards, which can do a lot of burst damage if used properly. So Glade Riders are jumping in, but the Swift Shiver Shards needs to retreat through their own men and get to safety. At least the Wild Riders have managed to out-trade the Thundergores and did some really impressive damage. Now they're charging back in to try and shut down the Furies. On the other side, Wild Riders and Wraiths of the Frozen Hearted and the Eternal Gods are all standing by, just trying to guard against the enemy incursion of mobility. Plus the Tempest onto the Exalted Lord of Change and the firepower from the Glade Gods are pushing off the Exalted Lord of Change, doing some really extensive damage so far. But at the same time, because the Dryads are committed to the front line, the backline is open. Marauder Horsemen are being thrown into the backline to shut down the enemy archers. Being Marauder Horsemen, they have decent enough melee stats to actually trade against the enemy missile infantry, but of course Dryads coming back in and mobility coming back in will be a nice call to just push off those Marauder Horsemen. Over here, seems like the Wild Riders didn't get a good charge onto the Tentacles of Siege, and and they were just like overwhelmed and picked off, which is not great for the Wood Elves. But over here on the left flank of the Wood Elf army, things have been mostly successful, pushing back both of the Centaur units, and once again the second cast of Tempest onto the Exalted Lord of Change, trapping him in the slow and also doing damage. And also, if the Great Gods are returning with a bit of leadership regrouping, they can probably keep just damaging the Lord of Change. But that doesn't really matter right now. Dryads are winning against the Marauders, while the Glade Riders also clean up some Furies. Things are looking very good for the Wood Elves at this point. The rush of the Siege army has mostly faltered. Especially the Exalted Lord of Change is very damaged. It's severely damaged from the Tempest and Starfire Shafts. And the Thundergore mobility mostly being dealt with by the sheer numbers of Glade Riders and that 1 and 2 units of Wild Riders. Marauder Horsemen and Thundergores on the left flank have been freed up and now trying to clean up some Glade Riders and drag this one back. But yeah, things are not looking great for Slaanesh at all because of their lack of units present on the field. Oh, and more Tempest. I think that is the most lethal thing from the Wood Elves so far. Constantly spamming Tempest and the poor Exalted Lord of Change, not having any ways to heal back himself. It's just suffering permanent damage, and now it's probably just going to demonic instability crumble to death. Or, well, it's a demon, so it doesn't die. It just fades back into the warp. Honestly, Leech, I took them and don't even know what they're called. yeah, there are too many units, too many names. Ugh. Spellweaver of high magic, 1,200 gold worth of damage value. We have a bunch of the Tempests are definitely leaving a mark on this one. One of the Deepwood Scouts did fine. I think this is the one on the left flank, managing to be protected or something. But yeah, overall it's mostly the Wild Riders and Tempests doing most of the work. Yeah, and a lot of the damage value didn't actually went into the pockets of the Wood Elves. It's the demonic and stability crumble of the Chaos Furies. And Exalted Lord of Change, unfortunately, Tempest countered it pretty hard. And the Thundergores, one of them did really well, the other 3 not so much. Just getting beaten back by the Glade Riders and Wild Riders, who doesn't really have armor, and their armor piercing is mostly wasted on them. And yeah, GG to both players. Alright, next up, okay, let's check what these Tomb Kings versus Tomb Kings are. Okay, this is probably just a... Wait, hold on. Oh, TZ versus Tomb Kings. Okay, I think these are the same replays. I'll just... not. Yeah, I think these are the same replace, so I'm just gonna delete that. Yeah, we start from here and then there. Okay, cool. Next up, Slaanesh versus Dark Elves. Beluga, our champion of today's tournament. With once again, Slaanesh, Hell Scourges, Marauders with Forsaken supporting them. So yeah, seems to be really taking a liking in of these Forsaken infantry as a flanking force. 3 Forsaken, 4 Hell Scourge, and then 4 Seekers. That's a very lethal mobility force. And what else? Azazel leading the army, and Furies in the skies as well, just in case they need to shut down missiles, and indeed there are some missiles. Anyways, over here, for the Dark Elves, immediately Vanguard deployed Dark Riders and got jump shield. So already right off the bat, the Dark Elves are going to be at a 1,000 gold deficit. As for the main formation, Dark Elves going with a Witch Elf front 9, supported by 1 single dress, 2 dress speed is one of them, the Hellebron 9, with poison, debuffing their opponents. Both Fiends providing some solid armor-piercing value, but these armor-piercing missiles, again, against Slaanesh, I wouldn't bring missiles. Or maybe I would bring Missile Cavalry, because they can quickly reposition themselves and run away if they need to. Not that they can outrun Slaanesh, but it's better than just standing still and getting tied down in melee, I guess. Cohen Knights, 4 of them to guard the back of the box, and a Malus Dark Blade. And yeah, as I said right off the bat, these Dark Riders are quickly getting annihilated by those Seekers. Once they get caught, they are gone. But Witch Elves, though, they probably can just cut through a lot of these Hell Scourge Marauders. The problem is that whether they can out-trade everything here, because they need to out-trade things, but against Forsaken, this is going to be rough. Some of them have turned on their Witch Brew. Not all of them, though. This one definitely needs to turn on their Witch Brew to just start killing whatever in front of them. Otherwise, they're just going to get killed without getting that damage burst, which is going to be a big waste of them. But anyways, the Dark Shots, both Fiends have been Rampage earlier, so they got dragged into melee, and Furies are diving onto them. Koa Knights are trying to charge over to the flank there and work down the enemy Forsaken, and perhaps trying to pin down the Seekers as well. But more Seekers are coming in for a rear charge. Oh no! This is going to be a brutal charge, especially when Furies are diving in as well. And unlike regular Furies, these are Slaanesh Furies, and they have armor piercing. And they're doing some excellent damage to those Koan Knights. And one of them just got straight up deleted from this one enveloping charge. And Witch Elves as well, they're getting pretty much deleted from those rear charges. And yeah, things are not great. I think they're probably done. The Dark Elves are probably done for at this point. All their Koan Knights are trapped in this little blob, being surrounded by Forsaken, Seekers, and Furies, striking them with armor-piercing damage from all sides. Witch Elves, some of them manage to win their fights, but once they get surrounded, they don't actually trade well into all these infantry of Slaanesh, especially not against the Forsaken, which has armor to mitigate their non-armor piercing damage, while Forsaken themselves, excellent damage dealers who can punch down the lightly armored Witch Elves. So yeah, all the Koan Cavalry are dead, leaving only Zarkan, who has transformed and wanting to maybe shut down Azazel, but he himself is taking a lot of damage, being cycle charged by the Seekers and finished off by Azazel. Yeah, finished off by Azazel. Yeah, and that is going to be GG. Yeah, it's a pretty one-sided engagement on this one, unfortunately. Yeah. Witch Elves normally a very good offensive infantry, but against Slaanesh probably not the best idea, I don't think. Yeah. I don't, and also the unlucky deployment of the Dark Riders too. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I honestly feel a bit lost on what to do against Slaanesh, other than maybe box it up. Even if you box up, Pavane can counteract the boxes by just luring your units out of the protection of the box, so it's quite rough. But yeah, those Seekers did so much damage to the Koan Cavalry. Damn. Yeah, it's yeah, brutal fight so far. Got swamped, too much mobility indeed. That's basically what happens every Slaanesh game, I think. They have Seekers, they have Hellstriders, they have Furies. That's like a maximum of 12 units of mobility already. And then just bring some chaff infantry, and then they're like pretty solid. as like a very mobility heavy faction, and it's hard to counter because there's a lot of stuff you need to respond at once. You need to react to at once, and it's hard to just keep up with everything. And I personally struggle a lot with that as well. Anyways, next up, Vampire Coast versus High Elves. Let's see what happens here. Unlucky Spotify going with a front line of deckhand mobs. 3. Once again, going with a melee rush build. 3 Death Gods, Felbat, 3 Scurvy Dogs, 2 Morngos, one of them, the Night Terrors, and a Bloated Corpse. Leading the army is Alastra Direfin. Is he on the crab? Is she on? Yeah, she is on the crab. Like, all this units doesn't seem that expensive after all. On the other side for the high... Oh, wait, hold on. Damn Knights Errant Summon, Crab Summon, yeah, Tight Call, and Songs of Enthronement. On the other side, for the High Elf army, a staunch line of spears, Silver Helms, Dragon Princes, 1 unit of Shadow Walkers, the more elite version of Shadow Warriors with poison and anti-infantry bonus in melee, and more Dragon Princes, Silver Helms, and Flame Spy Phoenix. Leading the army is Tyrion on foot once again, but I'm worried whether he can catch up to his targets this time, and a Mage of Life with Flesh to Stone and Flesh to Stone only. I guess you don't need that much healing when the 2 expensive units in your army can heal themselves, but Dragon Princess, not exactly great against monsters, and it's good against light armored monsters, but you probably just want to spend the money on a Fireborn who are specialized in killing monsters. So if they get us around on Salasra, they'll just slaughter her. But yeah, it is what it is. Let's see what happens here. Shadow Walkers firing into zombie powered deckhand mobs, which is not great. You're just wasting ammo on some cheap chaff. And honestly, the ammo is probably worth more than the freaking zombie powered deckhand mobs. You're getting Shadow Walkers. Those are like 1,000 gold missile unit. And they have already used up quite a bit of their ammo as well. You rather want to shoot the Death Guards instead. But yeah, on the side there, the Silverham sallied forth and tried to tie down the Night Terrors, and maybe Dragon Princess can get a charge onto the Night Terrors, or they just decided to go charge down some zombie pirates. And the archers are doing a lot of work against zombie chaff, but the main problem are the Death Guard, who are getting bombarded by the flaming poops of the Flame Spy Phoenix. But yeah, on the side there, seems like the Silver Helms and Dragon Princes are a little bit slacking in terms of micro, where they got caught by Scurvy Dogs and got pinned down. They probably won't lose against the Scurvy Dogs, it's just not ideal that they got charged. And now because they're pinned down by the Scurvy Dogs, the other Scurvy Dogs are able to just chase after the Shadow Walkers and try to slaughter them in melee. If the Shadow Walkers just stand their ground and try to fight back the Scurvy Dogs, it probably would have worked better for them, because they have anti-infantry bonus and can fight decently in melee. Like you can see, they're doing quite a bit of damage to the Scurvy Dogs, but the problem is that the front line isn't holding anymore. Death Guard just cleave their way clean through those Scurvy Dogs, through those spears, having that anti-infantry bonus and a solid melee stats, and now they're just powering straight through. But what happened to the Dragon Princess? They took a lot of damage. Oh, did they try to pull out of the fight and just got, and the Scurvy Dogs pursue them? Not entirely sure what happened, but I think that's gonna be a quick one as well. Silverham still tied down on the Morngos and losing that fight because the Morngos have healing, they do not, and the archers are compromised now. The mobility, the Dragon Princes and Silverhelms try to converge around Tyrion and fight Silostra, but that is not a great fight for them. A lot of armored craps that they cannot fight through. They don't have the AP. Flame Spy Phoenix kind of stuck in a bunch of zombies, and it should have been stayed in the skies and keep just dropping flaming poops, I guess. But yeah, either way, that was a quick battle with yeah, these hounds did quite a bit of damage. Holy shit. Oh, was that the bloated corpse that nuked the Dragon Princes? I missed that. Okay, I'm gonna rewatch this just to see the bloated corpse. Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen the bloated corpse doing anything in battle, but yeah, this is unfortunately not an ideal build against the Vampire Coast, especially like the targeting priority can use a bit of improvement as well. Oh, one of the archers got max gold chevron. Oh, that might be a waste of money as well. A lot of money went into the high elf archer, but also they didn't do, like, the chevron on the missile unit is not doing that much. Like, some of the value goes into like the melee stats, right? but you're not getting any benefit with that, and you're only getting more reload speed, which, I mean, it doesn't, and more accuracy, and neither of those significantly increases the performance of your unit. Alright, anyways, I'm gonna fast forward this one just to see what happened to the bloated corpse, because I totally missed that one. I think it blew up one of the dragon princes. For once, it earned back its value. Huh. But yeah, we shall see. He tries to move in, but seeing the dragon princess kind of trapped there, just kind of stuck there. Oh, and bloated corpse just blew up. Half a unit of dragon princess gone. Yeah, that was a good bombing run. I love the Cathay Grenadiers. I would love a Firelance version, which is a spear with a one-time use firework flamethrower. You're talking about the Mad Max explosive spears, right? The dynamite spear, right? That would be a funny. That would be a fun thing to do, but like it's gonna be hard to implement because it's gonna probably be like a one-time weapon strength plus 100 thingy, and it's hard to implement because it's. I guess you can kind of use it as like a precursor weapon kind of thing, similar to the Kamlian Stalkers, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be hard to implement because it's supposed to be like a one-time melee contact thing, right? I don't know. But yeah, anyways, that is it. And then we have Tomb Kings versus Tomb Kings Civil War. Oh, this is a grudge match. Arcane the Black versus Cetra the Imperishable. Both guys hate each other. Firelance basically works like a flamethrower, but limited now. Oh wait, Firelance. Right, the Chinese Firelance. You're right. That would be cool. That would be cool, but I don't know. I don't think Cathay is supposed to have like a skirmishing cavalry role kind of thing. It also depends on how how Games Workshop decided to develop their IP, because all the units that are in Total Warhammer are supposed to stick to like the tabletop design, and because we have the old world tabletop IP coming out, or I mean it already came out, a lot of the units in game are developed like in sync. Not in sync in terms of progress, but the designs are in sync with what the tabletop products are supposed to be. And as you can see, you would see Miao Ying, you would see the Terracotta Sentinel, you could see the Cathay Jade Warriors, which are designed exactly the same in Total Warhammer and the Old World tabletop. It really depends on whether Games Workshop wants to make like a Fire Lance unit. I think it works well in tabletop with like a one-time charge thing. It's just gonna be kind of hard to implement in Total Warhammer. But either ways, the main thing is whether Games Workshop would design a Fire Lance for their tabletop product. If they do, then chances are they will be added into Total Warhammer. But if they don't, then it is what it is, I suppose. It definitely won't appear in Total Warhammer, because I think if I remember correctly, one of the reason why we have non-iron sights using repeating rifles in the trailer, if you watch the Nurgle Empire Dwarf DLC, you would spot some repeating rifles in the trailer, if I remember correctly, but then you don't see repeating rifles on the non-iron sights in game because there was some changes to the IP assets, which means the iron sights had to lose their repeating rifles as well. So yeah, I think that's what happened. Either ways, that is not the main discussion for today. Let's focus back into this Tomb King Civil War. We have a front line of skeleton warriors and skeleton spears. Oh wait, whoa, are we gonna have bone dragons then? When I think about, because like there are bone dragons in the Old World DLC. If we're getting a Nagash DLC and yeah, like a basically an update to all the undead factions. We might actually, oh shit, we might actually get the new Tomb King's units too. But anyways, that's not the main thing here. We're back to the actual game. Tomb King's front line of skeleton warriors, supported by Ushabti with great bows, specifically one Chosen of the Gods and one regular Ushabti. Two Ushabti with great bows actually. So 3 Ushabti with great bows in total. A lot of firepower. Oh, that's gonna be a firefight. Oh yeah. Oh god. Oh god. Both armies are very similar. Anyways, oh, Tomb Guards, solid infantry, solid anchor, very good melee defensive stats, light armor though, so they're not exactly great against non-armor, non-armor piercing damage. And skeleton spears on the flanks. Skeleton horse archers as a bit of a skirmishing cavalry. Arkan the Black leading the army with Spirit Leech, his skeleton summon, and Staff of Nagash. On the other side, for the other Tomb Kings, so for Cetra's Tomb King's army, a front line of skeleton warriors plus a Kepler Guard, similar to the yeah, almost exactly the same build we've seen in the last battle here. Double Ushabti with Laduro was playing this one. I forgot. I think I don't know which. I forgot the name of the player on this side actually. Anyways, we can check it out later. Chosen of the Gods and more Great Bow Ushabti. Leading the army is Cetra the Imperishable with the Sphinx of Uzkev. Oh, okay. This side of the Tomb King's army definitely have to rush. The red Tomb Kings definitely have to rush because they need to really tie down those Ushabti in melee. Anyways, some carrions in the skies and skeleton horsemen. They have quite a few melee mobility though, so they might not have to worry as much about yeah, they can probably afford to send those into melee and try to tie down the enemy skirmishers or push back the enemy skirmishers and constructs as well. But anyways, the Ushabti with great bows are firing and immediately annihilating the Chosen of the Gods. Just trying to focus down one of these constructs one at a time. Chosen of the Gods firing back. Not sure what it's firing. Oh, it's firing at Arkan the Black. No, it was on auto fire, just firing at the closest target they had. No, okay, now they're firing at the other units and doing some collateral damage to the skeleton warriors nearby. Chosen of the Gods, because of their scatter shot, are pretty bad against like a monstrous infantry. Their shots are often would be missed. The regular great bows are way better at sniping out monstrous infantry. But yeah, the Chosen of the Gods are probably better off just to blast off some of these Tomb Gods and try to thin them out as soon as possible, as much as possible before before they go down. Oh no, the red Tomb Kings though, big mistake standing still and trying to trade in the range, because yeah, you can't afford to trade in range right now because like you lose your Chosen of the Gods. Now your second unit of Ushabti is under pressure. Like these big cats should be in the front line and try to pressure those Ushabti with great bows alongside with the skeleton horsemen and carrions harassing the horse archers. These yeah, these Ushabtis are losing the fight. Why are these big cats still sitting back? They need to be in the fight. They need to be in the front line at ASAP, because while the Chosen of the Gods and the Ushabtis are still too busy shooting at your own Ushabtis, these Ushabtis are pretty much just glorified bait and decoys. Just absorbing the damage from the Ushabtis, buying more time for your Sphinx of Uzkev and your War Sphinx to get close and start close in the distance and pressure these Chosen of the Gods and Ushabtis in melee. Like maybe the Ushabtis, the Sphinx of Uzkev will be distracted by fighting other Sphinx of Uzkev, but at least there's nothing to stop Cetra from rampaging through the enemy front line and try to get to these Ushabtis at the back there. At least horsemen and carrions are doing okay against the enemy horse archers, but the Sphinx of Uzkev is in the back line now and repelling and the mobility harassment. Sphinx of Uzkev, why are you not getting into the Ushabti with great bows? They're now turning around and starting to focus down Cetra. You're supposed to just go straight for the Ushabtis with great bows. Oh no, Cetra is now tied down in the middle of a bunch of firepower. Oh no, and the Sphinx of Uzkev is also on him. The green Sphinx of Uzkev is on him. That is not great. Cetra is taking a lot of damage with nothing to heal him. He does not have access to restore. He does not have the physical resist nervous incantation of protection. Not that it matters against the magical attacks of Sphinx of Uzkev. The other Sphinx of Uzkev decided to turn around and try to chase after Arkan the Black, but That is not gonna save Cetra, and that is probably gonna be it for the red Tomb Kings. Their spam of infantry got stuck behind, just wet noodling with other skeleton warriors, and definitely not breaking through the Tomb Gods anytime soon. Not even the Kepler Guard. I mean, the Kepler Guard will eventually win in this fight, but it's gonna take them a long while, and time is not exactly on the red Tomb King side. Yeah, I feel like a big mistake was made when the red Tomb Kings decided to sit back and wait for the Ushabtis to trade against each other. Like, when you're losing on that range battle, you want to close in with your units as soon as possible and get the fight into a melee terms. Because your opponents spend more money onto their range, that means they spend less money onto their melee, and that means you have more resources in melee to maybe win against them. And yeah, I think that we can just fast forward this one here as once Cetra goes down, and it's just a matter of stuff surrounding those, surrounding that one red Sphinx of Uskev and just beat it down with the help of the green Sphinx of Uskev. And yeah, Spirit Leeches as well to just drain down Cetra ASAP. And yeah, that was quite unfortunate there. Like, there's a lot of infantry that are not exactly great in this matchup. Maybe cut out the 2 skeleton warriors as well and just bring in more skeleton horsemen to pressure the enemy missiles and harass perhaps the Ushabtis. But yeah, the main thing is, if you're fighting against an enemy with a superior range artillery firepower, you need to close in your distance as soon as possible, because the more time you spend away from your enemy, the more time they have to shoot you. And if you get close, and that means the artillery is probably gonna be pressured by melee and got dragged into melee and unable to fire, and would be starting to taking damage as well, and they won't be the artillery would be less effective as a result. While you have your melee assets doing what they do and either doing damage or just dragging things into melee and denying them from other engagements or from firing. So yeah, that is gonna be it. Especially when you're like, yeah, especially when you have a inferior artillery fire, that means your units are just gonna get shot and blasted to death from afar, which is not great. Anyways, next up we have Norska versus Tinge. Frost with a double chosen of Tinge, 4 murder horsemen with their javelins, magical warp flame javelins that has the warp flame effect, reducing armor and add weakness to fire. 2 Gianticles and 2 Screamers, one of them the Shrieking Sky Rays. Saphira the Everwatcher versus B-Saga's oh, B-Saga not... Oh, last week I think B-Saga brought a bunch of Ice Wolf Chariots? He didn't bring any this time, right? Anyways, a front line of, for the Norska, a front line of Familiar Warriors backing up those Marauders in the front line. The Familiar Warriors have great weapons, and actually both great weapons and no great weapons mixed in together. And then we have some Marauder Hunters with Javelins, providing the anti-launch firepower in case they need to kill any monsters. Familiar Warriors is interesting pick for sure. Having that magical damage, they can definitely beat down any physically resistant foes. But at the same time, heavy armor 110 plus missile resistance of 50% because of From the Mist, and their innate 25% missile resistance. They can just tank missiles for ages. So even if they're getting shot by javelins, they don't give a shit, because that damage is being halved and then further reduced by the armor they have. So yeah, some very solid stuff there. Wolfric the Wanderer leading the army with only Sea Fang. Not that there's much to... Oh, actually, if they can drop the Sea Fang onto the Chosen, that would be huge, just to thin out the enemy, the late infantry, the main anchor of the enemy's fighting power. But other than that, there's not much the Norscan army can do to deal with the double Chosens. There's also a single Feral Metal Guard in the sky, and that's it for the army build. There's also a Metal Caster of Final Transmutation. Saphira also coming in with his own Final Transmutation, so it's a battle of Final Transmutation, guys. Though I would say Saphira has a little bit of a lead here. He has 8,000 HP and the 800 Siege Barrier, while Wolfric only has 5,000 HP and no healing available, and no regenerating barrier, of course. Well, Shaman Sorcerer only has 3,000 HP as well, so yeah. Norscan much more vulnerable to the final transmutations. Oh, Norscans are trying to charge into the Chosens. Oh, this is a bad call. No, the Marauders are gonna get slaughtered. You need the boat. You need the boat on these halberds. Where's the boat? The boat needs to be... There needs to be a boat onto the halberds. Like, even with the support of Familiar Warriors, this front line is not gonna straight up beat the Chosens. They're gonna... The Chosens with anti-large elite melee stats, they're gonna overpower the enemy. Yeah, is there a boat? Is there a boat coming in? They need... Okay, a boat onto the halberds. Not doing a whole lot. Oh, no. And instead, probably did more friendly fire, maybe? Going straight through their own lines. And yeah, the heavy armor of the Chosen definitely mitigate a lot of that boat damage. With only 35% armor piercing, after all. Final transmutation onto this blob from Safra the Everwatcher. Draining down the Marauders and the Familiar Warriors. And of course, with the Chosen of Siege in the vicinity, quickly beating up the monsters and including the Manticore as well. So a lot of damage being dealt to the Norscan lines. And now the Zandagors are unleashing their fighting power upon the Marauders and the Familiar Warriors. They might be great fighters, but they're too slow to catch up to the Zandagors. And they're just lagging behind. Oh, this is bad. The front line, all the Marauders are being dealt with by the final transmutation and the Terror from Safrael and also the Chosen's melee stats. And the Javelins are just too busy shooting at those Marauder Horsemen. While the Norscan's own Marauder Horsemen are being repelled, being chased off by the Siege Marauder Horses. Yeah, this is bad. The Norscan army is pretty much scattered all over the place. They are finishing off the Shrieking Sky Rays. But there's no answer, no good answer to Marauders. There's no good answer to the Chosen of Siege. Maybe shoot them with Javelins is your best bet. But then they have too many threats to deal with right now. Yeah, I guess maybe try to screen the Marauder Horsemen with the Familiars and just shoot the Chosen with Javelins. Probably best bet at this point, especially you don't have Searing Dooms. Like the caster did not have Searing Dooms. I mean, nobody expected a freaking Chosen build. So that is very much reasonable there with the spellcasting choices. But of course, reasonable does not always work. Sometimes things out of your expectation happens. And the Marauders come over and try to deal with the pin down the Chosens, but yeah. And now, oh, wait, Wolfric, why are you running away from Safrael? Just beat him up in melee. Never mind. Actually. Yeah, he got hit by the Rock of Inevitability, and oh no, he was trying to run away. That led to him taking some damage from the Javelins, and some free hits from Safrael as well, and he is now terrified by Safrael. That's definitely not great. Marauder Horseman came back and tried to chuck out some Javelins, but that's not saving. There's no saving to the Marauder Hunter Javelins at this point. We're being ran down by the Zandagors. And oh no, Chosen catching those Marauder Hunter Javelins. Yeah. Norscan army unfortunately just kind of falling apart after the initial engagement. Mobility pressuring their, like the Siege mobility pressuring their mobility, and they start running out of position. A lot of the Familiar Warriors are just too slow to react to the Zandagor threats, and the Marauder Horsemen of Siege as well. So, like a lot of time from the Familiar Warriors and the Marauders are spent on trying to catch up to their targets. And then Wolfric's being singled out as well. That was not great. Yeah. And Wolfric went down, a big hit to the leadership of the Norscans, and they still have no answers to the Chosen, especially now that the Marauder Hunters with Javelins are dead. So, yeah, the Chosen can just stand there and hold till the end of time, pretty much. And there's not much. It's a big engagement of final transmutations from both sides, and obviously seems like the Norscan side is taking a bigger punishment from this. And then there's also the Bolt of Change army bombardment ability. So yeah, I would love to see buff spells from Norscan in this frontline fight. What spells would you recommend? I probably wouldn't even bother with buff spells. I would just spam Searing Dooms. That is why I usually bring both Searing Dooms and Final Transmutation, because if you want to clear out blobs, you would need Searing Doom. If you want to kill single entities, you need Final Transmutation. If this fight have Searing Doom, then those Chosen would not have been a problem, because they're very effective even against heavily armored targets. And it's just gonna explode the poor Chosen with halberds a bunch with those Searing Dooms. But yeah, that is going to be it for this battle. The Chosen just hold the line with nothing to challenge their melee supremacy. And yeah. Oh, and final transmutation. Very brutal damage, also chasing down Wolfric with Saphrael there, so Wolfric not having a good time, being rather unfortunate, I would say. And Javelins did okay, earned back their worth. They probably could have earned back more if they could stay alive and protected by familiar warriors at the back there. But yeah, there's not a lot of good answers to Chosen in this one. Definitely, this is why you bring both Final Transmutation and Searing Doom in your battles. At least I do. Like, Final Transmutation is kind of expensive, so if you want to save money, a lot of people just don't bring Searing Doom, but I would bring both, just in case you need to clear out blobs of infantry or cavalry. Like, Searing Doom is just such a good spell. Cavalry, monstrous infantry, regular infantry, they all fall victim to the explosions of Searing Doom. It's just so good for some reason. It makes no fucking sense. Wait, this? Yeah, okay. Let's just watch this one first. Axe-throwing infantry, possible, but at the same time, you don't really expect Tzeentch to bring a lot of armor. So normally, like if you're bringing axe-throwing marauders or axe-throwing horsemen, you're paying extra for the armor piercing, or as in like you're paying for the armor piercing. Mortar hunters with throwing axes, I don't think you need to pay extra, but you still have to pay for the armor piercing with shorter range and like some of the compensations with the lack of anti-large. And but there are only like 2-3 units that might appear on the battlefield, like Chaos Warriors, which is not exactly the most often occurrence. Chosen, which is an extremely rare appearance, and Chaos Knights, which throwing axes are actually not that great against because of their short range. Unless you're on a throwing axe horseman, that might be a different issue. But they also the Chaos Knights also have shields to block their missiles. You'd rather use Zandagors to fight them in melee at that point. So yeah, there's not a lot of like units for your throwing axes to counter. While Javelins have a much better use, they are good against Zandagors. They're good against, like, you can use them to shoot at the Exalted Lord of Change, or just or Screamers, or you can use them to shoot at even Chaos Spawns and a lot more different stuff. And Javelins still have decent enough armor piercing that if you need them to shoot at armored targets like Chaos Knights, their anti-large will make up for the lack of armor piercing, and also they have decent enough armor piercing to make a difference. If, like, even in the previous battles, if the Javelins were able to shoot at just sit back and shoot at the halberds, they would have done some pretty good work as well. But just unfortunately, the Familiars were out of position, unable to protect the Javelins. That was a problem. And also nothing to really stop the halberds from grinding down the poor Marauders in the front line as well. Malo Morgan, I don't know, those Ushaptis deleted my Soul Grinder. Well, Ushaptis, Chosen of the Gods, are good against single entity monsters, not multi-entity monstrous units, because with how the projectile spreads, smaller size monsters like monstrous infantry, like a lot of the scatter shot would miss the target and just, like, for example, shoot at this kind of monstrous infantry. The explosion will spread, and just some will maybe hit the Chosen of the God here, and then some will just go around, fly over, go around from the side of the model and hit the ground or something. But if you're shooting at a single entity monster like that, like, assuming the Ushapti is targeting the center of the target, because the target is so fucking big, it's just gonna spread. Like, say it's targeting this scarab in the middle. If it spreads, it's gonna hit the skulls nearby, and it's still, like, within the target. So, like, it's Chosen of the Gods will delete single entity monsters. Oh, it deletes this. Yeah, like, even assuming it aims for the head of the Soul Grinder, it will spread and hit the shoulder, hit the torso. Maybe some will hit the top of the head as well. Some might miss, but yeah, if it's like the way how targeting works is they target the center of the mass of the target. So by center of the mass is probably somewhere around the chest of the Soul Grinder. The scatter shot would hit like the head, the torso, the shoulder, the arms. Like it will spread around the target and just it's a bigger target and it's gonna hit. While against a smaller target, it's just gonna spread, and it will just go around the monstrous infantry. Which is not great. But yeah, like the explosion of the projectiles has a pretty big spread, which is why it's not great for monstrous infantry that is kind of like this size. But anyways, let's just go through the army builds on both sides. For the Tomb Kings, a front line of skeleton warriors, backed up by some skeleton spears, skeleton horsemen, and double Ushapti, one of them the chosen of the gods. Leading the army, Setra the Imperishable and Sphinx of Uska, very classic combo there, with multiple horse archers, providing some skirmishing fire. Now on the other side, ooh, the Tinge army here. Wait, have we seen this? No, I don't think we have yet. Yeah. Blue Horrors of Tinge, and one pink horror, more the chromatic abominations, and then some marauders of Tinge with spears guarding the rear and the flank. And in the skies, Exalted Hero of Tinge, Soul Grinder, and the Kairos Fate Weaver leading the army. Scroll of Shielding, Scroll of Destiny already trying to get more Winds of Magic Reserve, and at the same time unleashing some blue fire to whittle down the enemy skirmisher, doing a lot of damage with that blue fire cast. Very nicely done there. While the Soul Grinder, I think, he's starting to shoot, picking off some horsemen. Only horsemen though, nothing too substantial. Anyway, so we're gonna fast forward here. It's gonna be some kiting phase here. Oh, double Exalted Heroes of Tinge. Ooh, the damage starting to come in from the Bow Shapti. One of them is also a great Bow Shapti too, so does really nice damage with each shot. Alright, here comes the Chosen of the Gods shots. Explodes and multiple, like you can see, like once it explodes, multiple projectile strikes the same target. Like the spread actually managed to hit multiple shot managed to hit the leg part of the model. Yeah, it's just how the spreading of the projectile works, right? We've slowed down and it's trying to juke, but even then, because of how big the model is, multiple shots are still able to connect and collide with the model of the Soul Grinder. You can see like multiple splashing attack contact effects just kind of like triggered a few, like, yeah. That one shot fully connected onto the back of the... There's like one shot fully connected to the Soul Grinder. Single entity monsters with a big target, it's perfect for the Soul Grinder, for the Chosen of the Gods. Yes, multiple shots landing onto, like, you can literally see multiple arrows flicking off the body of the poor Soul Grinder here, and it's absolutely getting massacred by these shotgun shots. But yeah, if they're shooting against like monstrous infantry, a lot of those spread shots will kind of miss because of how small these models are compared to like something like a Soul Grinder. Anyways, the Soul Grinder is probably going to be dead. Not great for a Tinge for sure. Yeah, probably it's worth dropping that Exalted Hero of Tinge just to tie down the Chosen of the Gods at this point. But yeah, Blue Fire continues to be spammed by Kairos Fate Weaver, whittling down the horse archers, while the rest of the Tinge infantry are moving up. I'm just gonna fast forward here. It's gonna take some time. Tinge, you might want to start moving up and get your units into firing distance. Yeah, the problem is our Necrosphinx now. Yeah, that's fair. Our Necrosphinx, he's gonna be a bit of a problem, but I think he can't really tie down the Exalted Hero. Especially there's only one of them, and you have two of these Exalted Heroes. You can probably send one over there. But yeah, I don't know. But then there's also Setra. Yeah, this is a rough situation. Probably needed some pink fire onto the skeleton. Yeah, it's not great for Tinge right now because they're getting outshot, and the infantry they're blobbing up a bit too much. Not that it matters against Tomb Kings right now, but yeah, maybe just I probably feel like it's probably just better to just hide Soul Grinder behind a tree and wait for a better moment to throw out your exalted hero. Oh, Blue Fire is doing some work against the Shapti, I guess, so that's something. Yeah, it did quite a bit of damage, actually. And I guess the Exalted Hero jumped in or something? No, they didn't. They probably didn't. Oh, it did mad damage, but It's the blue fire trying to carry in here. Oh no, blue horrors are now dragged in melee. This might be a better situation if the Marauders of Change are being sent over to block the enemy skeletons so that the blue horrors can just keep firing for a bit longer. Yeah, Exalted Hero jumping down onto the ground trying to snipe Cetra with a bolt of change, blasting both the skeleton horseman and Cetra the Imperishable at the same time. So the Soul Grinder really is getting deleted right now. Oh, that's Firestorm. Siege Firestorm. Yeah. I didn't realize. Oh, that. Oh, didn't bring Pink Fire. Okay. Yeah, Pink Fire is probably the more cost-efficient spell here. Oh, nope. Yep, the Soul Grinder is dead. Getting shot up by the Chosen of the Gods. And now the Sphinx of Uzkas jumps in. Cetra also surrounding the poor Exalted Hero with some Horseman support. And things are not looking great for Siege for sure. Especially when there's a summon Ushabti coming in for the Chromatic Abomination to silence them. Yeah, things are looking rough. And yeah, Pink Fire probably would have been a better call to kill all of the skeletons. It's just cheaper, more cost-efficient. And yeah. And Horse Archers are also getting shot back by the Pink Horrors, I guess. More spells coming in, not doing a whole lot to the Ushabti, but not doing the whole lot to the Sphinx, but the main target are the Horse Archers anyways. But the Ushabti are still around and they're not really threatened anymore. Some blue horrors manage to push through the skeleton line. Maybe they can tie down the Ushabtis. Balance of power is still roughly the same, but that's mostly because Kairos is just inflating the balance of power. Oh, Flamestorm for Sepulchre and Bush after our land heroes. That makes sense. But does it do that much damage to Sepulchres? Stalkers? I don't know. Might need to test it out at some point in the future. It doesn't do that much armor piercing damage. Yeah, Overcast one-shots them. Oh, I did not know that. Shit. Okay, I did not notice that. That might change things, huh? But anyways, the blue horrors are just not gonna happen this time. The blue horrors one-shots almost everything. Okay, I might need to test it at some point later. Now I'm just trying to finish the cast, so that I don't sleep late. But yeah, the blue horrors are trying their best to just fire whatever they can and grind down whatever melee units in the vicinity. Oh, deleting more skeletons as both of the Flamestorm. After a blob one hero, that is fair. Wait, what if you throw in the Exalted Hero around? Oh wait, no, nobody would blob the Ushabti around the hero. Okay, never mind. But yeah, Kairos also taking a lot of fire from the Ushabti. Now the Ushabti are turning around to shoot at the blue horror front line instead. And try to kill off the Marauders as well, since Kairos is a bit hard to hit, flying around in the skies. But yeah, the blue horrors, with only blue horrors and Marauders, it's hard for Kairos to bring this one back. He has no way to take on the double War Kittens. And the Ushabti just keeps firing and shooting him down. A lot of damage from the blue fire and the Flamestorm cast, but yeah, just unfortunately losing the firefight against the Chosen of the Gods and the Ushabtis. They were not, just unfortunately leaving the Soul Grinder not earning much value after all. And Ushabti is getting some excellent value, and the Sphinx is killing, and yeah, and Cetra killing off the Exalted Heroes, taking down a lot of value with them. But yeah, that is going to be GG to both players, and we have 2 more battles. Oh wait, hold on, that is not the right file. I'm going to delete that. Last 2 replays. Wood Elves versus Tomb Kings. End of the Line versus Scott. Oh, this time we have Sepulchral Stalkers. End of the Line going with a front line of Eternal Gods for Dryads. 4 Great Gods with Starfire Shafts. Definitely a good call against Tomb Kings, especially some of them are weak to fire. 2 Glade Riders with Spears and 2 Wild Riders with Shields. Papa Durfu leading the army once again. I assume a lot of Flock of Doom and Sword of Dave spell coming in. Yeah, just trying. Yep, Flock of Doom, Sword of Dave, standard stuff. On the other side, we have Tomb Kings. Skeleton Spears and Skeleton Warriors in the front line there, with a couple Sepulchral Stalkers and Chosen of the Gods ready to just fire down and blast down Durfu with a multi-shot. Like, you can see every time the shot explodes, multiple of them strikes a big, large monster target. But yeah, against a more spread out monstrous infantry target, it's a bit harder for them to earn the value. But anyways, Sepulchral Stalkers blasting up Dryads with their laser venom, and on the side their Nekara Horsemen moving up, trying to pressure the enemy mobility. A lot of Nekara Horsemen and Skeleton Horsemen actually on the field. So a lot of mobility, and the Wood Elves do have to be careful. At least they have a lot of Eternal Gods to deal with that. But yeah, Flock of Doom's already taking into effect. Oh no, Papa Drift does not want to walk into the crossfire in front of a bunch of Sepulchral Stalkers. That is a very, very bad idea. Oh no, especially when there's a bunch of Chosen of the Gods shooting him from the side. Oh, look at Drift getting deleted. Oh, this is not the way. This is not how he should go. And he is too late to pull out now. It's too late for him to pull out now. He's slowed by the poison. Wait, no. There's no poison. Wait, there's no poison. It's just laser venom. There's no actual venom in there. Never mind. But yeah, with the laser attacks and the Chosen of the Gods blasting him, Driftwood just got nuked. Yeah, I think that might be the end of yeah, I think that's the end of the Wood Elves. I mean, with all due respect, I don't see how the Wood Elves can pull those one back. Maybe they, if they can shoot up etc. and the constructs, but even then, there's a lot of mobility and we do a little fumbling of the Lord. Sometimes, yes, it happens, or sometimes, but at the same time, Tomb Kings are also fumbling their own Lord. Dropping an Eru's Incantation of Protection doesn't do anything against Starfire Shafts because it does magic damage. And it does very nice armor piercing to kill your Lord. Yeah. Cetra also is not in a good shape either, just getting poked by a bunch of armor piercing from afar. And there's the Necro Horsemen here are just too busy fighting one of the Glade Gods to deal with the other one, and Cetra goes down. Suddenly things are suddenly a lot more equal. Both sides have their Lord sniped at the very early stages of the battle, but it seems like the Wood Elves are indeed a little bit on top of their micro on their mobility, getting a nice round onto the Nekara Horsemen and killing a second unit as well. And yeah, these Wild Riders and Glade Gods manage to catch the enemy mobility by surprise, and getting some really good progress done. While the Tomb King's army unfortunately seems to be a bit slow on microing the Nekara Horsemen there. Some of them got stuck on Eternal Gods for a little too long, taking a lot of damage. And at the same time, Chosen of the Gods a little bit too close to the front line. They don't have to be that close to the Glade Gods, because they could have stayed way back and still managed to hammer those Glade Gods with Starfire Shafts. But now they're too close to the front line, so the Glade Gods are able to get close enough. Not close enough to like get stuck in melee, but close enough just to reach those Chosen of the Gods. But yeah, I guess the Sepulchral Stalkers can just go into melee and tie down one of the units. But yeah, overall, the front line of the skeletons are, these are over-blobbing a lot onto one Dryad. They could have spread out and maybe help the Sepulchral Stalkers to screen out the Eternal Gods. But right now, they're just trying to chase off this one unit of Dryads and just leaving the Sepulchral Stalkers here to die. But yeah, overall, it seems like the the green side of the Wood Elves managed to pull this one back pretty fine. As both sides fumbled their Lord. Wait, where? Oh right, there's no Sphinx of Uskap today, or not in this battle at least. And Sepulchral Stalkers being tied down in melee is not great for them. They are not exactly great melee combatants, especially not against anti-large spears. And Eternal Gods will eventually grind through the enemy skeleton chaff. Chosen of the Gods, after being showered by armor-piercing arrows, is now being surrounded and overwhelmed by Wild Riders, so they're probably going to go down soon. And without all these damage output units, the Sepulchral Stalkers, the Chosen of the Gods, there's no way for the Tomb Kings to just grind through all these Eternal Gods, Starfire Shafts, and mobility with just skeleton horses, Necro Horsemen, and skeleton infantry. So I'm just going to fast forward here. There are some fresh, very fresh Necro Horsemen and skeleton skeleton horses emerging from the trees, delivering a devastating blow to these already tattered Glade Gods who have been hammered by Ushabti Great Bows for a long while. But yeah, if they dare try to charge into any melee units, they're just gonna get grind down in melee. Yeah. Even charging into Glade Gods is gonna take them a while to get through those missile units, and then the Wild Riders charges in from behind and just wrecks them in melee. GG to both players, and seems like both sides fumbled their Lord indeed. Cetra has a less of a fumbling, but the rest of the units here unfortunately didn't do a whole lot of didn't do enough to carry the game here. All of them did a lot of. These guys did a lot of damage. This one didn't earn back their value, but this one did, and Chosen of the Gods definitely did a lot by hammering the enemy Glade God, and but yeah, most of these value from the Sepulchral Stalker and the Chosen of the Gods were from hitting Dursu, so that was kind of makes sense, but that also explains why some of these Glade Gods did a lot of damage by focusing fire. Poor Cetra the Imperishable there. Just sniping him out, and Wild Riders did okay, and Glade Gods, Eternal Gods held on and grind down, just held on against the skeletons, grind them down, and allowing just holding them back long enough for the Glade Gods to do their work against the constructs, shower them with armor-piercing arrow, and the Wild Riders and Glade Riders to win that mobility fight. Very nicely played from both players, and I'm just gonna move on to the final battle for today. The semifinals between Frost and Enda the Lion. I heard the Beastman got a team flying SEM in the last update. Does that apply to both campaign and multiplayer? I think it does. Just quickly check the custom settings of Beastman. I think it's a cockatrice, right? I think it's been there for a while, no? But either ways, I don't think it matters much. Nobody really uses him. Not even Siege players uses him. So yeah, it's not great. Like, if you want a flying single entity unit that can cost terror, just bring a freaking Feral Manticore. The Cockatrice is kind of shit. Don't bother about it. Anyways, one last battle for today. Wood Elves versus Siege with Frost versus Enda the Lion. Frost going with an Exalted Load of Change with double Exalted Heroes of Siege. 5 blue horses, 4 pink horses, and 3 murder horses. That's a lot of range missiles, and they are just ready to very literally light those Wood Elves up on fire. All the Wood Elves going for a front line of Dryads. Oh wait, hold on, slow down. Spellcasting wise, blue and pink fire from the Exalted Lord of Change. Standard stuff as is expected. As for the Wood Elves, the front line of Dryads, War Dancers, a couple of them, and a bunch of Glade God Starfire Shafts, backed up by a bunch of oh, there's some Deepwood Scouts with Swift Shiver Shards, which is a good call. Magic damage bypasses physical resistance of the horrors, and also double shots, so it does really good damage firing at the enemy target. Just a lot of burst damage, double the damage of regular Deepwood Scouts, I think. Anyways, Glade Gods with Starfire Shafts, and Wild Riders with shields, providing a lot of mobility on the field, and also Spellweaver of High Magic with Tempest and Apotheosis. Oh, the double Exalted Heroes are on Chariots, just acting as mobility piece to disrupt the enemy missile lines. Very nice, interesting pick from the Siege player here. Oh no, the War Dancers are not, they haven't turned on the Woven Mist. If you're rushing into a missile line, turn on Woven Mist. You need that. You need that for those War Dancers to even have a chance of surviving that screen of absolute torrent of firepower. But anyways, Dryads are going in first, and they're getting absolutely shot to death, as expected, by all the fire damage. Like, the fire damage and the Dryads are being weak to fire. That is not great. The Forest Bird versus... very sad indeed. The Burning Tree and Burning Treekin. Burning Treekin are too expensive, I would say. They would be nice. They would be nice. But oh no, the War Dancers are rushing in without Woven Mist. And very nicely done by Frost there, using those Exalted Heroes to disrupt the advance of all those Dryads and just slow down the enemy advance, buying more time for those Blue Horrors to absolutely lit up those poor War Dancers. Yeah, and yeah, again, you need to turn on the Woven Mist if you're rushing into the enemy missile line. You need that. Like, if you have 40% of damage resistance, you probably have around 40% of HP left, and at least you can make contact with the enemy front line. I learned the horrors that the horrors did fire damage today. Yeah, I mean, they're literally throwing fireballs at you, dude. You don't, bro, they're literally firing throwing fireballs at you. These are literally balls of warp flame. What do you mean you learned it? No, okay. Anyways, yeah. Sometimes you just kind of miss out the certain details, I guess. But yeah, yeah, everything got lit up. Tequila calls them candies. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they're very, very colorful, but they're also very hot. And now with the front line gone, the blue horrors, pink horrors just moved in close enough and start lighting up the Deepwood Scouts. Okay, yeah, everything just got lit up. Nothing managed to stand in front of all these blue and pink warp flames. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, the whole thing about Siege is they have everything is on fire, right? The flamers, the blue and pink fires of Siege, and blue horrors, like, they literally, wait, hold on, not this one. Some of their units have a contacting effect called Warp Flame. I think that is mostly on the Murder Horsemen and maybe some. Is it on the Flamers? I'm not sure actually. But either way, some of them have the contact effect called Warp Flame. So yeah, that is premium. Wait, doesn't Treekin provide protection to all allies now? The Fire Treekin, there's only one of them. And it has a limited area of effect, so it doesn't protect everything on the field. And it's also expensive, so people will just decide not to shoot it and just throw some chaff and tie it down. So it can provide some sort of protection, but nothing permanent. Oh, the mage battle is on though. Blue fire just working down the HP of the Spellweaver. Also an emergency. Yeah, Warp Flame effect. You can see that Warp Flame effect. Adding a bit of a fire weakness. But yeah, Apotheosis there, getting that emergency heal while Tempest tries to damage the Exalted Lord of Change. The basic tree can now do. It does, but it only does that to, it only nullifies units. It only nullifies enemy units nearby. So if the Treekin is here, say the Treekin is here, wait, no. Here. And the blue horror is here. Like, the blue horrors and pink horrors are not in range of the Ancient Guardian ability. So the magic attack isn't nullified. It only nullifies stuff that are kind of in melee distance. Or like close contact with the Treekin. So I don't think it matters against all these blue and pink fire. It doesn't cancels out the magic damage that flies in from afar, unfortunately. Oh, another blue fire and the Spellweaver is almost dead. Ah, that is unfortunate. Just getting sniped from the blue fires from afar. So that is probably going to be GG at this point. And was that a... But yeah, let's see. That's a lot of damage from the Exalted Heroes of Siege. Oh, they were just running down troops with their chariots. But yeah, a lot of blue and pink fire lighting up the forest. The forest really did burn today. And it's unfortunate there. And yeah, the Exalted Heroes, what the fuck were they doing the whole time? Just running down routed troops and earning back like 1,800, 600 value? Damn. But yeah, very unfortunate there. Every Dryad and War Dancers got absolutely burned down by the Warp Flames. One of them, Deepwood Scouts, did great with their burst damage. But other ones, unfortunately, not so much. And yeah. Oh, actually, I want to see what happened to these guys and the Exalted Heroes as well. And valiant attempt to pull this one back, but losing the entire front line like that was just a little bit too much for the Wood Elves. Oh, okay, then send the Treekin first to face tank and tie down. Yeah, probably that would be a better use of that. But at the same time, the Treekin are weak to fire, and they're just gonna get lit up as well. So that's the problem there. But yeah, they have better armor, so they might face tank a bit better. But at the same time, the entire Siege army does magic damage that bypass their physical resistance. That is not great. Yeah, so yeah, it's a bit of a kind of. How would I play this actually? I think it's pretty hard. I can't go melee rush on this one. At least not full on melee rush. I probably need some missiles. Swift Shiver Shards is probably still the way, maybe. But yeah, no, you still have to be careful of maybe like there are two ways for Siege to play this, right? Missile spam or mobility spam. Either ways, and both ways have very different solutions, counters from the Wood Elf side, which is not great. Like if you're geared one army towards one side, you have your army is a bit screwed in dealing with the other kind of design. But yeah, the Exalted Hero are doing some really good damage, just plowing through enemy infantry and tying them down for those blue horrors and pink horrors to just keep firing. One of the scouts managed to stay back and just fire. And the mobility did well though, managing to catch the murder horsemen on the far peripheries and just hunting down those enemy skirmishers, eliminating them so there's less mobility to threaten the backline. But there's no the blue and pink horse aren't really relying on the mobility to shut down the elven targets. These wood scouts managed to sit back and just keep firing. These ones did not, so these ones are probably the ones getting more damage, and they have really good burst damage, right? They fire 2 projectiles per shot, and also does magic damage, and which is effective against demons, and even against like an armored target. If they can just get a few shots in, they can absolutely put a dent in armored targets, just from the sheer volume of their double shots. And yeah. The Exalted Heroes just keep like harassing enemy missile troops, which are quite expensive themselves, and just keep getting value that way with those charge impact damage. Yeah, very nicely done from both players, and that is gonna be it for today's stream. I hope you all enjoy. Honestly should have just committed to kite in the match. Probably, yeah, probably that would have been better. You have the range advantage over Siege, since everything is like 150 plus range on your units, while the Siege units are like 130 max from the pink horse. So you can probably just try to whittle down the blue horse first with your missiles, and then whittle down the pink horse. But then again, your opponent will be constantly spamming those blue fire onto your caster, which is gonna be problematic because the Spellweaver is very fragile on from those tracking missiles. Not a lot of HP, not a lot of resistances, and just got blasted down from all sides. But yeah, anyways, that is gonna be it for today's stream. I hope you'll enjoy today's tournament. A massive shout out to the RTK clan and Big JP for organizing all these weekly 20s, and yeah, absolutely grateful for once again inviting me to cast this event. I hope you all enjoyed this tournament. Have fun whether you played in the tournament or just watching everyone playing. I hope you all had fun, and I'll see you on the next one. The next couple weeks I will be busy, so I won't be able to cast any more weekend 20s. But if you want to see more, I'm sure there's other casters who will be taking over and casting these new player and advanced player tournaments on the Conquest mode. I hope you all enjoyed this tournament, and if you enjoyed it, please do drop a like and subscribe to my channel, and yeah, that really helps with the algorithm, and I would really appreciate it to push this channel a bit more. But yeah, that is going to be it for today. Thank you for watching, everyone. Have a nice evening and weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Tactical Lich signing out.